Welcome one and all to the K.O.E. Nation, folks. I hope you are all doing well. As you can see, I'm Dusty from the field. Let's make sure you are. Yes, you are. You're getting every beautiful sound that is my voice. Now, folks, we're going to get into a lot of fun stuff tonight. We're going to cover RFK Jr. We're going to be covering Tucker. And we're going to get into some personal stuff a little later on. Hey, Ben, man. How we doing there? Ben Manwinter. God bless. Tony showed me some pretty spicy memes you've been sending as of late. God bless you. Now, folks, as you can see, I'm Dusty from the field. I'm going to get a little cleaned up, but while we do that, I'm going to get right in to the latest episode of Hazard Analysis that we had with a little special twist. If you want the complete unvarnished version, down there, it's in the little down there part, it has everything that you need to find Hazard Analysis on YouTube, folks. And so definitely check that out, because that is the complete nothing has been removed from that conversation. Unfortunately, because of TOS and stuff, Tom didn't make the final cut for obvious reasons, but so for that, Tom, I do apologize, but you get it with Twitch and stuff. I wish I didn't have to do it. It's a pain in the ass. That, and he did have a couple of pretty good one-liners in there. So check out Hazard Analysis on YouTube, but I'm going to get myself cleaned up for the show proper. And until then, folks, enjoy this. I will be back quite shortly. Welcome, one and all, to Hazard Analysis, Episode 6. Folks, I am your King of Extreme, Phil K.O.E., the man of the hour, the man with the power, the man that makes the other podcast cower, the man too sweet to be sour, folks. I am just thrilled to be here this evening with all you beautiful folks. I hope you have liked, share, subscribe, and most importantly, hit that notification button right here at Hazard Analysis on YouTube. Folks, I am your King of Extreme, Phil K.O.E. You can, of course, find me at K.O.E. Nation on YouTube, TikTok, Twitch, and now Twitter. Yes, folks, your King of Extreme has joined Twitter and is well on the pathway to that blue check mark. So head on over. It's all very on brand. K.O.E. Nation, YouTube, TikTok, Twitch, Twitter. Folks, it's where you need to be. And this evening, I am joined by my indomitable broadcast partner, the one, the only,
the 14-time Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast champion, the non-coppa friendly, non-chill filtered, and quadruple distilled Tony fucking G. Find me at TikTok at Tony the Rod. You can find me on the Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast as Tony fucking G. And you can find me on the Big Buckin' Empire's The Dog and Chicken Show most Fridays or Thursdays. Hard to tell anymore. And you can also find me here at Hazard Analysis on Sundays at 9 o'clock Central Standard Time. Folks,
Sunday.
We do a lot of stuff here at the Big Buckin' Empire, so the best thing that you can do is go to the Facebook page, like, share, and subscribe to it, and go to all the various YouTube channels, especially right now, Hazard Analysis on YouTube, at Hazard_Analysis on YouTube, and get that subscriber count way up. And we will do more shilling very, very shortly on some other things, but yes, we are back. Episode number 6, Hazard Analysis. We've got some guests hopefully popping in here at some point. We don't have an exact schedule, but folks, I promise you this is going to still be a great show, because you've got the core too of Hazard Analysis. I was about to
say, it's the main stars of the show. Let's be frank. I mean, this is where it's at right here, is Phil K.O.E., Tony G, and I got that pulled up for you, T. Now, Tony, you mentioned that the Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast, but I am the tribal chief of the Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast, the current reigning, defending 13-time Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast champion, Phil K.O.E., where you can find us not only a Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast on YouTube, but also Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast on Spotify. And I believe we are also on Twitter with RevRes Pod. So that was my first little intro to Twitter, and it was more like a dictation thing where I'd tell Tony, tell the folks that. But now, no, it's direct. You can get it literally just mainline that Phil K.O.E. just directly to you. And yes, your current tribal chief, just like Roman Reigns.
Yes. Now, that is not the only thing we were here to shill. But first,
Ooh,
I'm
there's
going
more?
to tell you I am having a glass of scotch. We're not going to get real crazy because, of course, it's the Sunday show. This is the hazard analysis show. This isn't quarter round drinking. So I'm just taking it easy, sipping on a little bit of Naked Grouse Scotch whiskey, blended and sherry cask.
Yes. Now, I, on the other hand, am going insane this evening. I am also drinking scotch. Sound like a good idea. The Dalmore 14 that you and Chicken got me for
yes.
Christmas last year. Excellent, excellent stuff. But I can see my gin right over there. I will honor one gin shot per subscriber for the whole episode. That's it. You get one per the entire show. If you're a subscriber and you want me to take a shot of gin, you get one for the whole show. But beyond that, folks, we will see where it goes from here. But Tony, you were saying there was something we needed to shill.
There is something we need to shill, and it's past time. It's already creeping up on us. We're only 20 days away from this, folks, and I hate to. Oh goodness me, I hate to bring it up because you knew it was coming, folks. You knew it was coming. It's here. Oh, Bandit, you some bitch. Phil Gin.
Let me go get my bottle.
All right. While you're doing that, folks, it's here. It's that time of year again. The 4th annual Andre the Giant Beer Drinking Challenge. It's here May 20th. That is a Saturday. And looks like I've got it currently set at 7 p.m. I don't know specifically what time we're going to start yet, but I just created the event because we're way behind on promoting this thing. And frankly, we needed a cause. And I was thinking about that today. And
ooh, a cause.
I honestly, I can think of no better one. It dawned on me. What would be the best cause for the Big Bucking Empire, for the Dog and Chicken Show, for Hazard Analysis, for the Andre the Giant Beer Drinking Challenge? And then it hit me. Obviously, we need a cause. And the cause is going to be this. When you contribute to the cause, it's going to give us a few more dollars closer to shipping one Brendan Roy back to Nebraska.
Yes. Yes, folks. So let's see if
we can cause.
Let's see if we can cause some stirrings in the general life of one Brendan Roy. Let's see what we can do there.
It obviously it's a good cause. It's a worthy cause. It's a notable cause. Get Brendan Roy back to Nebraska for another night or two of drinking with some seasoned veterans such as ourselves, folks. Go over to Big Bucking Empire page on Facebook and make sure that you hit interested on this event. This is one that you're going to keep in mind because this is a big one. It's one we do every year. This is going to be the 4th annual. What we do here is we try to outdo ourselves every year in terms of sheer total of number of beers drank between ourselves and you, the viewer, the audience. Now, I wish I would have had the exact number from last year, but it was really, really, really high. I know we weren't quite at 300, or did we get to 300?
No, we didn't get we didn't even get to 200. I don't think.
Bullshit.
We got in the 180s, and we were
maybe the first year. Last year, we have gotten to a higher count every year with this thing, and I expect this year to be no different. We set the bar higher every year.
No, it's 180. It's not 300.
It's not. We got to be honest with the people, folks.
Tony, you double fact check that, and you bring that factoid to us next week right here at Hazard Analysis. So, folks,
I'm going to do it tonight because we got to start shilling this thing hard.
Oh, well, I mean, like, I was trying to also shill this, but also give a teaser for next week. So,
fine, teaser for the next live show to see if you'd missed it last year, just how many beers we drank last year between us and the audience. So,
I mean, if you happen to find out tonight, I guess let them know.
Whatever. I won't even look.
Ruin the lead.
Whatever.
But yes, during the 4th annual Andre the Giant Beer Drinking Challenge, also you, the audience, gets to participate. It's not just us on screen. Yep. Y'all at home, if you say, "Hey, I drank a beer for Andre," that gets added to the tally. And if you happen to be at home and you would like a beer that you're drinking, you'd like to give a review of it, just send me your selfie video, or send it to Tony, actually, of you drinking your beer. and rating it on a 5-star scale as a beer and as what kind of beer. Is it like an American light lager? Is it a Bock? Whatever kind of beer you're drinking. Make sure there's no copyrighted music in the background. And yes, you will be part of the greatest beer related show in all YouTube history, Beer 30 O'Clock. It's Tony's favorite. He loves it. He thinks it's the single greatest beer related content on YouTube. Here we go. May 20th, Andre the Giant Beer Challenge. Follow events on Big Buckin' Empire on Facebook for more. Well done. Well done. So, yes. So if you folks out there would like to be a part of this amazing program and be a part of Beer 30 O'Clock, be a part of the Andre the Giant Beer Memorial Battle Royal, as I like to call it, folks, all you gotta do is just make yourself some film, no copyrighted music in the background, and it will be a marvelous time. So yes, Tony, the Andre the Giant, we've done this a couple of years. The first year was a little bumpy. The second year was really fun. Like I had a lot of fun the second year. Third year was a bash, and it's kind of like finally becoming what I envisioned it originally. Like it's just everybody drinking beer, having a good time, and it's a tribute to the boss, and we're trying to do something for a good cause. So yes, so that I'm very much looking forward to. And folks, to be a part of that, all you have to do is follow Big Bucket Empire on Facebook, right, T?
Yeah.
Right
right
it's right there. The thing. Wow. You know, the thing.
The thing.
Yes.
So, folks, very simple.
Lord Almighty God. So, yes, we have gotten into the Andre the Giant Memorial Beer Battle Royal. We have established the fact that I'm the tribal chief of the Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast. We have established the fact that people need to follow Big Buckin' Empire on YouTube and Facebook. We have denoted and made sure that everyone is aware that K.O.E Nation is on YouTube, TikTok, Twitch, and now Twitter. And we've even let them know that you, the biggest rising star on TikTok, Tony the Rod, Tony, is there anything else that I missed there?
I don't think so. I think you've shilled sufficiently for now. There's probably going to be more time for that later.
Oh, and then Chicken and Brennan have some sideshow. I think it's called like the Audacity of Fauci or something. I don't know.
Close enough.
Pretty much. It's pretty much the same thing. So, oh yeah. Now, Tony, give me full screen here.
Oh,
just for Bandit.
My bad.
And for all you beautiful people out there, to fighting, stealing, and drinking. If you're gonna fight, may it be for a friend. If you're gonna steal, may it be a lover's heart. And if you're gonna drink, by God, I hope it's with me.
How was that, Phil?
Ah. Ah.
You all right there, bud?
First drink of the weekend.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, I haven't drank all weekend, and that's how I yummy get that started. So,
folks in the Facebook chat, here is the link for the 4th annual Andre the Giant Beer Drinking Challenge. Those of you on Facebook and you're already subscribed to Big Buckin' Empire, you've probably got the notification, but make sure you go over to the event page and hit interested. We're going to be showing this on every live show and everything in between, folks. So make sure you do that. You're not going to want to miss that one.
Yeah, I think pretty much every time I go live from here until this happens, I'm going to be shilling the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal and, of course, hazard analysis on YouTube, folks, where you should no doubt and undoubtedly be heading over right now to subscribe.
It's that one. That's the picture. Go to that one and hit like, follow. Thank you. All right. You are most certainly welcome, sister.
Thank you, Bandit. I was just starting to like you.
So, without further ado, what do we got coming up first, Phil?
Well, Tony, it's been such a slow news week in the mainstream media.
I mean, it hasn't been exactly like mind-blowing. There's been some stuff.
Oh, wait, Tucker Carlson. Oh, my God. Yeah, like on the right wing sphere. Yeah, this is like, Tony, I know you're in centrist land, so you probably just felt like a small little tremor under your feet. Like here in Nebraska, if like a big earthquake hits like in California or something, we feel just a little tremor under our feet. Yeah, that's what you felt over in centrist Bill, but
No, that's not fair. Like I enjoy his I enjoy his takes. If you take them with a grain of salt, knowing full well that he 100% is trying to stir the pot and push a narrative. Like, but I still enjoy his takes because I think for the most part, even if you can wade through a lot of the narrative pushing, they're pretty based on a lot of instances. I think if you unwrap the box that is the heavy conservative Fox narrative pushing, there is a gem of real base there. And I always enjoyed his take. I actually thought at all the shows that you'd see on Fox in that specific window of time, like his is probably the most entertaining. Even if you hate his takes, like he had the best delivery. This is a big
yeah.
gap. This is a big void. This is huge. This is not something that's going to be good for that network
Nope.
moving forward.
They've lost like God, there's different measures. Like some people say they've lost 200 million in market share. Some people say,
787.5 million to be exact.
Okay. Now is that from the Dominion lawsuit or is that from the just market share?
So the article I've got pulled up here, this is from The Guardian. This is Tucker Carlson. Fox, it's out 787.5 million, and the top host, Tucker Carlson. What's next for Fox News? They ask. In less than a week, Fox News has agreed to pay out more than 787.5 million in a huge legal settlement and fired its most
According to an anonymous leak. So always keep that in mind, folks.
in an unprecedented crisis for the U.S.'s most watched cable news channel, just as a critical presidential election cycle begins. With the 2024 election essentially already underway, right wing Fox News must now wrestle quickly with how to hold on to its audience that Tucker Carlson, the incendiary right wing extremist who was fired on Monday, captured and cultivated during his murky 7-year tenure as a primetime host. Early signs have not been great. Brian Kilmeade, a happy substitute, has already managed to lose nearly half of Carlson's 3 million viewers, who appear to have decamped en masse to Newsmax, Fox News' upstart competitor. So that really, to me, that's the big thing that you got to consider here. We are, like it or not, on the heels of a big presidential election because they all are, let's be frank. And the biggest contributor to Republicans, conservatives, and the like on the voting sphere just lost its most popular talking head, a bunch of money. And frankly, they're looking at losing a lot of fans overall, depending on where Mr. Tucker Carlson lands precisely. So this is big. This, like it or not, this turmoil, this situation is already going to be a bit of a divide and a bit of a sidetrack for an already waning Republican base. Let's be frank,
well,
because a lot of them are going to be diehard to Fox. A lot of them are going to be diehard to Tucker. They can't all be the same thing
it's
now.
like it's
This
like
is a divide.
Babylon B said. Right now, millions of baby boomers are calling their kids, asking them how they can change the channel from Fox News. Bandit says,
Struggle
"Had to struggle
bigly,
bigly. Did Trump win this?
bigly, wiggly.
Shit. I shouldn't tell, but yeah, Tyler, anybody on this show can get one gin shot the entire show if you're a subscriber on Big Buckin. You're not going to get one every hour, but you get one per show. Bandit's already got, but now, Tony, one thing I do want to say is when it comes to Tucker, now that he's left, ostensibly the main reason that conservatives would defend Fox News has left.
Yeah.
I mean, now, like when the left talks about like, oh, Fox News is just this den of vipers and evil folks who are just willing to sell you, and they're not trying to appeal to your best interest. Conservatives are going to be like, yep, totally with you. Now, conversely, on the other side of this, Don Lemon is also out on CNN. Now, his is a little more straightforward.
Oh,
I know,
the most
but
worthless piece of shit, asshole, narrative pushing, racist dickheads of the talking head community is out at the worst news media outlet. Oh, say it's not so.
I
Phil.
know, but my first thoughts were, Tucker, Don, there's an open time slot on some networks that you can jump in. Like Tucker just jumps to CNN and he's suddenly a little more moderate. And then Tony, you'd hate me if you saw it, but if Don Lemon legitimately got Tucker's time slot, you would see that guy just short of anything but put on a MAGA hat. Okay. Like that guy would suddenly, he would pander to his audience like that. It would just be like magic. You would watch his politics change overnight if he suddenly had Tucker's time slot with Tucker's advertisers, with Tucker's payday. Oh, yeah. Don Lemon would fucking flip on, like, he would flip flop worse than John Kerry or Jeb Bush. Okay. Like,
I think that's really the big reason people hated Don Lemon. Not because of his shitty politics, and they are shitty, but because you could tell, you could see through it. Call him Mr. Cellophane because this guy was as transparent as possible. This guy didn't believe a word he fucking said. This guy was the definition of talking head, not even knowing what he was truly saying.
Talking about Don?
Don Lemon's just worthless. That's why I enjoyed Tucker Carlson, because you could tell at the core of it, there was at least a shred of belief in what he was delivering message-wise. It wasn't just shilling nonsense at its core. He actually understood what he was talking about and had an opinion on it.
Yeah, actually, what's funny is my daughter and her friends, they would sometimes hate watch Tucker. Don Lemon isn't getting Tucker's payday. That's because he's not valuable as Tucker's payday. But if he was getting Tucker's payday, he would change his politics like that. Yeah. But like, no, my daughter and her friends, they would sometimes hate watch Tucker and they tell me about it. And like, to me, I'm just like, good. Some of that common sense is going to seep in there. Like, now, granted, their politics are just completely opposite, so it doesn't usually line up. It's like, no, even if you don't like the guy, at least you're being informed as to what's going on. And at least you know what the other side's thinking. Like me, I always listen to Kyle Kalinske all the time because he's on the left, and I think it's good to know what the other side's thinking. But no, actually, of all the people,
already at CNN a long time ago.
Yeah, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, back when he had a bow tie on. He was
bow tie Tucker. That's right.
Yes. So we could see the return to that gimmick. Tucker, like, hey everyone, bow tie Tucker's back here on CNN. Hey, they're offering me like 80% of what I was getting paid. So, like, oh, he would do that. But here's the thing: of all the people, Brian Seltzer had this to say when he heard about Tucker being outed at Fox News. He said, Tucker can literally write his own ticket.
Oh, yeah.
He can go anywhere he wants.
Yes.
And if he wants to start his own venture, it will be tremendously successful. I mean, Tony, if Tucker starts a new venture, there's a chance I'm going to start watching it. I mean, they're like, he will have the right's ear. Okay. And like, whether anybody likes him or not, whether you love him or not, hate him or not, he speaks to a segment of this country and this population that a lot of people don't. And
I think that's what we need to talk about. Let's go that direction. Like, where is he going to go from here? Where's Fox going to go from here? Because that's what we need to think about. The damage is done. Fox did it themselves. They had a big blow, money-wise, kind of. It sounds like a lot to you and I, maybe not so much. I mean,
yeah, they lost $780 million in this settlement, but also keep in mind that Budweiser lost $6 billion in market share over 6 cans that they made. So yeah, the shit can move fucking crazy in today's modern world.
See, so yeah, I think that's what we need to focus on. Dan says, I doubt Tucker's sticking with Dinosaur Media. I think this is important. Let's talk about where does Fox go from here, because it sounds like the replacement's not going to pan out long term. And what is Tucker going to do? Because he's not going to sit by idly. So let's start first with Fox.
Well, it's with Fox, it's like a TikTok that I saw earlier, just like 2-3 days ago. And they're talking about, oh my God, Tucker's out on Fox. Don Lemon's out on CNN. Well, I'm sure CNN's not going to be able to find somebody to read the teleprompter and spout left-wing propaganda. And I'm sure Fox is going to be completely unable to find someone to read the teleprompter and spout right-wing propaganda. I'm sure they're finished now. There's no way. Now,
that's what I want to
say. So that'll keep on going. But
who's it going to be, though? Like, who's going to be the one to step up? Because it sounds like Brian Kilmeade's not going to cut the mustard when it comes down to it. And who expected in a rash movement like this, cutting Tucker Carlson out and replacing him? It didn't matter who it was, really, that they replaced him with. They weren't going to be able to hold the attention span that Tucker had, not in the short term. So can they find someone to replace him with? And does that person even exist yet? Or is this something that they're going to have to grow organically?
There is only one person left in the Foxosphere that has that level of and you're not going to get anywhere close to his star power as Tucker's, but you're at least kind of touching it. And that would be giving Chris Wallace his own show in that time slot. Because, I mean, think now, okay, to us, far right Republicans, it would be the worst move ever. But for those normies that you're trying to get, like those moderate normie Republicans that like think that, fucking Ron DeSantis or Jeb Bush were a good idea, to those folks, Chris Wallace is like almost a hero. So he would be probably like, because I'm trying to think, like, there's just nobody in the Foxosphere right now. Greg Gutfield, like the Five, has really good ratings, but I don't think you can pull one of those people from the Five, put them in Tucker's slot, and hope to find magic. And like, oh, he's no longer with Fox Bandit, but it was probably because of people like Tucker and the whole thing that happened with the election. But if you offer him a big enough check, I guarantee he's coming back. But in terms of people that you have there now, that's
I have a
Brian Kilmeade is not making up the difference.
No, he's not going to be the answer. I do have a thought though. Now, I don't know. Tell me what you think of this idea. Maybe former press secretary Kylie McKinney. Easy
I don't
on
think
the
she'd take the
eyes.
job.
Easy on the eyes, and frankly, yeah, she can handle her own when it comes to the media. So I'm just throwing out.
She would be a good pick, but I don't think she's going to take the job just because, like, everybody that's kind of tied to the Trumposphere kind of sees Fox News as controlled opposition.
Well, let's be frank. If the election cycle doesn't go in the Trump favor, and she's not, even if it does, and she's not the new pick, which she probably wouldn't be anyway, that's not a bad gig to turn down, Phil. Like, I don't know.
I know, I totally get it.
Oh, Bandit. If only. If only.
The internet, folks. But no, she's sharp on her feet, and she was really good at what she did. She was basically, now granted, I loved Spicy. Sean Spicer, like, I loved him for all the wrong reasons. Okay, like he was like epically like way too combative, and like his first ever press meeting still goes down as one of the worst I've ever seen. And like, and it's epic. It's true, like it's unto itself. But then when we got Kelly McEnany, she just fucking wiped the floor. Like, she was perfect for that job. So yeah, she was amazing in a role. Now, when you do that job, basically your job is to speak a lot and say nothing. That's the whole job. Just like, and now the current lady that we got in there, I forget her name at the moment, she's perfect at that. She can filibuster for 2 hours, and you'll be like, what? Like, it'll be like Jacanadar. Like, what the fuck did she just say? Like, that meant nothing. So we've had a very, very good long line of press secretaries that have not said much, but spoken a lot over the years. But no, Tony, I don't think she's going to take that job. That's a lot of pressure. You got to take Tucker's time slot.
I'm just saying, I'm not saying throw her in right away. I'm saying maybe work her up the ranks, because I think that would be one that the demographic could get behind. She's held the captive audience before. She's got the look. She's got the tongue. I think it would work. Eventually.
She's got the looks.
So, okay. Fox, they're probably not going to be able to match the charisma. Not right away. Probably not for a long time that Tucker had. Obviously, we've gone from 3 million viewers to 1.5 in that time slot. That's a big drop. So
this is my Tucker like concerned dash baffled face.
Yeah, like a guy who just realized he needs reading glasses.
Yeah, well, actually, hang on.
Speaking of
the glasses
of extreme folks.
Now you get in focus, Tucker disbelief stare.
There it is. Yeah, it's beautiful. Okay, so frankly, Fox should probably just hire Phil K.O.E. is what you're saying. with the
For
glasses.
every minute that they don't, they're basically leaving money on the table. And yes, my indomitable co-host Tony G. I mean, basically, you're getting twice the quality for half the money. Okay, so like, yeah, this is, and yeah, Tony.
At first,
and then
but Phil would be like, well,
maybe we should creep those paydays up a little bit. But no, I mean, hey, Fox, you're already money ahead by just bringing me and Tony G on to take over Tucker's slot, and way more charisma, way more fun. And I can imagine we could have some fun with a couple.
I'm a lot manlier than Alan Combs, so just keep that in mind.
There's that. It's like, so it's like I get to sit down with like Bush Jr. It's like totally like, all right, hey, George. Like, and I'm just expecting this to be a joke for him to kind of riff off of it. But all right, hey, George. So did you or did you not, in fact, do 9/11? George immediately goes, I plead the fifth.
Me personally, no, I was reading to children.
No, you see, I plead the fifth. Good interview.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, like I could literally see that happening. Oh wow,
yeah.
Nice.
That was simultaneous.
Nice.
Thank you.
There we go. Tony couldn't handle it there for a second.
No, my OCD, I'm looking towards you, so I have to be on this side of the screen.
And then it's like, Obama, it's like, okay, will your famous quote be, I have a drone? Like, yeah, I would have a great time in Tucker's time slot. Like, have all the people that are banned on all the big social medias and just be like, so why did they ban you? Why don't you break that down? And Tony's having a conversation off screen. Yes. But no, like, to me, if you gave me Tucker's time slot, yes, I would have Donald Trump on every once in a while. Okay, almost. Let's be frank. So, like, hey, Donnie, here's your 5 minutes. What do you got for us, Donnie? Let me tell you something about these raids of bullshit. This indictment's bullshit. It's all bullshit. Fuck every last one of them. And I'm going to come back in 2024. Phil, you're pretty awesome. I think I'm going to make you my VP candidate. Yeah, it was reported this week that 2 of the hijackers were CIA bandit. Yeah, actually, that was reported this week that 2 of the hijackers did have some I'm going to choose my words very carefully here because I don't want hazard analysis to be kicked off, but there was some form of connection to the CIA and 2 of the hijackers on 9/11, and this was suppressed because, well, that does seem a little bad, doesn't it, T?
Yeah, that doesn't sound good, does it?
No. It's like, because it almost seems like the people who are charged to protect us are the people who are enabling the folks who want to harm us.
Wow, I can't believe you're connecting those dots, Phil.
I know,
wild.
completely unrelated. I'm sure that never, like, I mean, now, Tony, before, like, I'm going to keep that in mind. I'm going to come back to that comment a little later. But, see, I think at this point, unless is there any other thing you'd like to say about this Tucker situation before we start moving on?
Well, yeah, we haven't even discussed what he's going to do next.
Oh, yes,
I think,
of course.
That's the big thing coming out of this. Obviously, he's not going to lay low. Tucker Carlson's not going to just fade away into the nothingness. He's going to do something. So what's it going to be? Because as the article we brought up mentioned, Newsmax is an upstart. He could go there. He could. Not likely, but he could. Or frankly, he could just veer out on his own, which I think is a hell of a lot more likely. So let's talk short term and long term. What's next for Tucker Carlson?
In my personal opine, it's like Bandit said earlier, I don't know if he goes to the dinosaur media unless they offer him a fuck ton of money. Because let's be frank, I mean, nobody thought CM Punk was going to show up in AEW. Nobody thought Stone Cold was going to have another match at WrestleMania. But you know what changes people's minds? A fuck ton of money. So that could potentially land Tucker somewhere, but I think he gambles on himself. Because we've seen in the last few years, especially with our digital platforms that we have, gambling on yourself. I mean, Tucker in his first reunion, like, hey, folks, I'm back on Twitter, 55 million views in 2 days. So I think my money is on him and Elon do something. That would be awesome. Now people are saying, is he going to run for president? I don't think.
Nah, I don't
Honestly, I like he's making too much money. Do you know how much money and influence he would have to give up to be president?
Yeah.
Okay, like that's a fact. Okay, like, and so I think he is going to eventually gamble on himself. It really boils down to what's the non-compete clause in his contract.
Yeah, that's going to be the big thing because him leaving could not have been a decision that they came to lightly.
Our time on the
sure,
Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast has told us always check for them non-competes.
Yeah, and I'm sure his is probably pretty airtight. So I think you're right. I think it's going to be something where he's going to have to strife out on his own. I don't think that's going to be an issue because, from sounds of it, he went from 3 million average viewers on Fox in his time slot to a selfie video in his basement.
55 million views.
Yeah.
I think he'll make it. Now, Tony, there's another angle to this that I just heard the other day that I never really considered as another reason why the Tucker Carlson show was likely gone. Now, this isn't the main reason, but it didn't help. Okay. It's one of those, like, it didn't push it over the cliff likely, but it was a contributing factor to bring it up there. Rupert Murdoch had an ex who was pretty much, like, apparently by everybody's estimations, very Christian, and to the point where there was a dinner party where his ex, it was his ex fiance. They were fiance for a couple of weeks. They broke it off, and it was because of this dinner party. Where, first of all, she just does nothing but praise Tucker Carlson. She thinks the greatest show. She thinks he's blessed by God, the messenger by God, and Rupert hates that kind of talk. And in the middle of a dinner party, she pulls out her Bible and starts, like, reading biblical passages before anybody can, like, do the next thing that was supposed to happen at the dinner party. And Rupert's just standing there with, like, sitting there with a mortified look on his face. And then they break it off to after this. And some people say, is this Rupert trying to take away his ex's favorite show? There's, like, Tony, that might not be 100% of the reason why that happened, but it's probably more than 1% of the reason why that happened.
That might go down as one of the most awesomely petty things ever. Like, how petty can you be?
I'm willing to lose over $1 billion over this shit just to get rid of Tucker and say fuck.
I fired a guy getting 3 million views. Suck it. Like, yeah, that's pretty petty. That's pretty petty.
And also, people like Alan Dershowitz even said, like, why is he settling? I don't get why Fox or Rupert settled. And it hit me the other day is, in Rupert's mind, if Fox wins now this is just my speculation, but in Rupert's mind, if Fox wins the Dominion settlement, that helps Trump in 2024. So rather than trying to contribute $1 billion to Joe Biden's campaign, he fucking did it this way, trying to help sink Trump. And so, like, to me, that's, and again, it's not 100% of the reason why they settled, but it's probably more than 1% of the reason why they settled. So it's fascinating, like, especially when there's a move this big, to say, oh, it happened just because this. That's like saying the Iraq war was because of oil. That's just such a gross
oversimplification. That was it.
Well, it's just such a gross oversimplification of what's happened here that, like, I scarce think that you should try to find one reason. But Tony, now I turn it over to you. Like, what do you think Tucker does from here? Does he just fuck off and enjoy his money and do nothing?
I think short term he's going to fuck off and enjoy his money. Maybe the stars going to line up, we could get him on an episode of fucking Rogan. I think that would be great. But I don't think he goes. I don't think he goes like the podcasting route, because I don't think that's quite big enough. Like, can we get him a live stream scenario like this, but obviously much grander?
No. This'll do.
Oh yeah, sure. We'll have you on Hazard Analysis, Tucker, or
we'll even let him open the show.
Can he find a way to promote himself on exclusives like Truth Social or Twitter, like Bandit was alluding to? Can he get a streaming deal in place where he's betting on himself until Fox realizes they fucked up Caves and offers him the job back at probably twice the salary.
Like, to me, honestly, I think he just kind of goes and tries to build his own Daily Wire, for lack of better terms. Like the Daily Wire, like I've talked some smack on the Daily Wire in the past, but they do understand being a digital juggernaut. They do understand how to project themselves pretty far. I don't think Tucker goes Daily Wire because, frankly, I don't think they can afford it.
No.
Like I know that they've got some deep pockets, some deep investors, but it's sort of, this is 100% true, Nolan. This is 100% true. God bless. And also, thanks for coming, Kathy. But yes, this is absolutely true. K.O.E. Nation is better than crack. Take note, Hunter. Like, I don't want him hanging out with Tony Khan wanted to sign Brock Lesnar, Goldberg, and Stone Cold at the same time. There's really not much money left for the Orange Cassidys and such. Like, it's
darn.
I know that just
paying
breaks
money
your heart.
to stars to do star things instead of paying fucking scrubs to do non-star things. Yeah.
Tony, at one point, Steve Austin was the ringmaster. They're all scrubs until they're not.
Yeah, and he was still a good wrestler then.
I know, but he was no Stone Cold Steve Austin when he was the ringmaster.
Yeah,
so that's what I'm getting
at. He's never going to be Stone Cold.
We're getting off a little bit because let's be frank, like Brian Kilmeade, that's the Orange Cassidy of Fox News, and Tucker Carlson. Like literally, this is like the CM Punk fallout. Like I don't know how else. Like this is shockingly like that, and there's people are going to be talking about this for years, just like people talk about the Montreal Screwjob and the CM Punk debacle. So this is, like, to me, honestly, I think he gambles on himself. He just does Tucker Carlson stream, and a lot of people are going to watch it. Like, my baby boomer parents will probably learn how to find a new streaming service over Tucker Carlson just to keep getting Tucker Carlson. Because it's something that a lot of people forget. He speaks to the unheard, because that's something that if you talk to folks on the right, it's something that you will hear almost universally. If you're a right winger from Northern California, or if you're a right winger from Southern Florida, it doesn't matter from where you reign or where you call yourself home, where you call home, you will hear this universal cry of, we are the unheard. We are the folks who are being ignored. We are the folks who are being looked over. And to be frank, I remember, God, I can't remember his name right now. I used to watch I used to watch him on PBS for years, and he's the New York columnist for New York Times, and he was Obama's Republican. I can't remember his name, but he said, when I go to flyover country, and that's kind of a denigrating term, flyover country. What I'll hear from folks there is like, you have nothing but contempt for us here in flyover country, you coastal folks. And he says, that's not true at all. We don't think or care about you at all. Like you don't cross our minds ever. Don't think we have contempt for you. You're just like invisible to us as far as we're. Catherine Meehan Civarello, have you seen Liz Wheeler? I will have to look into her a little deeper. I've only heard of her a handful of times. Wheeler for a Tucker replacement. I'd have to investigate her just a little deeper, but now on your recommendation, I certainly couldn't care less. Like, you just make the farms grow, you make the sewers keep running, you make sure that the concrete and the rocks and the minerals and all the stuff that makes the cities keep growing up show up. Well, we couldn't care less. And I was like, wow, that's a shockingly honest admission there. And that's all those people who are saying we are being unheard. That is who Tucker speaks to. And so that's kind of one of those build a better mousetrap. The world will beat a fucking road to your door. And Tucker, in his own way, has built a better rhetorical mousetrap. So it's, I know that seems kind of oversimplified, but it really isn't. It really isn't. To be honest, I think they move Hannity and Ingram up an hour and put fresh blood at 10 p.m. Hannity, they might have to shuffle his time slot. I was about to say but how often can you go back to that well? He's like
Yeah.
John Cena or like Hulk
Yeah.
Hogan. Okay, like how
Exactly.
often are we going back to that well? Okay,
Rush
he's
was
been
Hulk Hogan. Hannity's definitely Cena.
okay. Yeah, I'll give you that. Rush is Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant combined.
Yeah.
Hannity is John Cena, maybe Stone Cold, maybe. But I think John Cena is a bit more apt comparison because Cena wins, LOL. But yeah, that's kind of one of those. Hannity's been champion so many times. How many more times are you gonna have to put on that armor and be the face of this thing again?
Might not have a
Because
choice, Fox. Might
you
not
can
have a
tell
choice.
he's kind of wanting to wind down his career. He'd kind of like to get out of this shit with all of his money, but they keep waving more in his face. So,
yeah, kind of hard to walk away from it when they're just giving it.
It's like, well, shit, you're making a compelling argument there.
Yeah.
That's a lot of zeros. But Hannity doesn't speak Chinese.
Not as fluent as Cena, that's for sure.
All
right, I think we can wrap this.
I got to give, like, before I Cena, you got to give credit, though. That motherfucker in 2 promos figured out how to piss off the entire fucking world. Okay? Now, hang on. Luckily, we got 9 minutes left because, folks, or at least on this topic, folks, we have an announcement to make. We have a new run-in. We have a special guest to make his once again appearance here on Hazard Analysis, folks. The one and only Lethe Waters. How we doing, sir?
Doing good. Glad to be here. Your resident Lord of Chaos has come.
Marvelous. Now, like we were just mentioning earlier, it's been such a slow news week. Nothing really happening in the world of news and media or anything. Oh, wait, that's right, Tucker Carlson. Now, we're actually starting to time some of our topics here because otherwise we'll talk about one topic all night. So luckily, we got 8 minutes left on this, so we got plenty of time to get into this. But for you, sir, Tucker Carlson out on Fox News. I'm curious, what was your initial reaction? And then as you found out more, what were your thoughts?
I was wondering what took them so long originally.
Yes.
3 million viewers, that's what.
Dude,
and 3 million reasons.
And then he gave them 8 million reasons not to. But that wasn't even it. The text messages were probably the last nail in his coffin, as he was dealing with a power struggle between him and Murdoch. And Murdoch had enough of that shit. And he finally had enough reasons to be like, you know what? Get rid of him. I don't care. Get rid of him. And I don't think he's really replaceable to the degree that people think he is. You don't see Hannity or any of these other people doing what Tucker does. So if you could just find another Tucker real quick, they probably would have done so already.
Yeah,
exactly. But yeah, that's the problem is he, like I was telling Tony earlier, like he speaks to those who feel unheard on the right. And that is tremendously powerful. That's going to bring its own gravitational pull. And so Tony asked the question, we'll pose it to you. It's a twofer. It's a double header.
Ooh.
Where does Fox News go from here? And where does Tucker Carlson go from here, sir?
Well, maybe Fox News will become a reputable news source again that no longer has to call itself entertainment. That would be a wonderful thing for them to do. I would be very happy to see some integrity going on there.
Now, folks, if you can't tell, Lethe's a little bit on the other side of the political aisle than us, but we always love having him. All right, continue, sir.
As for Tucker, the world is his oyster at this point. He could be on the Daily Wire. He could be over, in any of the other spaces that have been created since the fracturing began within the Conservative Party. And you know what I mean by the fracturing.
The fractured butthole, like South Park.
Exactly. So my biggest thing about why I don't understand why people on the right were really so pro Tucker, it literally came out that he was friends with Hunter Biden and his laptop and was asking him for help getting his kid in school. Come on.
Yeah, but now here's the weird thing though is the text messages aren't going to mean much to folks on the right. First of all, most folks, like most of Tucker's fans, have to call their millennial kids to ask how do they change their channel off of Fox News now that Tucker's not on anymore. So they're probably not going to hear too much about that. But also, second of all, private conversations, I don't think are really like, to me, it's like if it's public, that's one thing. When you get into private conversations, I don't really know about like how much stock you should put in that, because let's be frank, Lethe, if I find a private conversation from you, I can make you look bad. If I find a private conversation with Tony, I can make him look like, that's kind of the nature of a private conversation. But like when you were talking about, well, Fox will get its reputation again. Actually, Lethe, you're going to see something very fascinating over the next year, and especially leading up into the election season. Like people on the left are going to talk about, like, oh, and
thank you.
Them being friends behind the scenes is not new to us. All right, but what you're going to see is the leftists attacking Fox News. Fox News, this, that, and the other thing. And then you're going to see the right going, yep, totally agree. Fuck them. Because with Tucker gone, ostensibly the only reason for the right to put any effort into defending Fox News is gone, because he was the personality that they liked. And with him gone, it's basically like, oh, so who's going to read the teleprompter and tell us right-wing propaganda now?
Pretty much.
And we were kind of saying on CNN, it's kind of the same thing with Don Lemon. Oh, well, now that he's gone, who's going to read the teleprompter and read us left-wing propaganda now?
I'm glad you mentioned that. Everybody just forgets Don Lemon also got booted the same damn day.
Well, okay, it's like Tucker here, Don Lemon here, in terms of importance to the media and their ability to shake and move things. Okay, like
Don Lemon's not exactly going to be able to churn out 50 million views on a selfie video and put out on social media. Don Lemon's not going to have offers coming in from the likes of a Newsmax or Daily Wire or anything on the other side of the spectrum. Don Lemon's probably going to be happy to get discounts on his DoorDash at this point.
Ooh. Now,
you hate to see it, folks.
I said this earlier. You'll hate to see this worse, and just something to kind of think about. And Tony pointed out he'd never get this payday, but if you were to give Don Lemon Tucker Carlson's time slot on Fox News, give him Tucker Carlson's advertisers, his payday, everything, you would see Don Lemon just shy of put on a fucking MAGA hat and talk about how you need to fucking vote Donald Trump. Like, you would see him switch on a fucking dime like that if you pay him as much as Tucker was getting paid.
I can't even say you're wrong. It's just so wild because you get all this information from behind the scenes showing how little belief there was on that side for the things that were being said. It's like, you know what's going to happen when you get found out. Please stop doing this.
Yeah, I was about to say, like nowadays, like, and I've done this for years, like my private conversations and side chats and stuff, I just treat it like it's eventually going to get leaked someday. Like,
exactly,
eventually it's going to get leaked. So it's like, so you made a joke about this. Like, what do you mean? I made a little joke about that. He would put the hat on for Bandit goes, he would put the hat on for a bonus.
He would put the hat on for a popsicle. Don Lemon is a fucking shill for himself. He would gladly do whatever you want him to.
And
he'd say thank you, Daddy, as he did it.
Yeah, after we found
he
out
ain't
about
in any position to make, if you give me a bonus, fuck that. He will bend over and go, no, I'll take half of what you're offering, please.
As the Facebook stuff has shown us, as Edward Snowden has shown us, our information is not as private as we'd like to think it is. So let's stop trying to act like it is. And I was telling my little sister back when I was younger and she was just becoming a teenager, I'm like, watch out what you do on social media, because it will hinder your future. It is not worth it.
Oh, yeah. Like, I'm glad I just got a Twitter like 2 days ago, because I could imagine myself like, oh, here's a tweet from 2016. It's like, oh, God.
No. You would have found out that Phil had the inside track to the frogs being gay way before Alex Jones.
The frog. Jesus. The chemicals are turning the frogs gay. Oh, no. Actually, one time when I was on a panel with Vosh and he was freaking out about the 2000 election, I said, you sound like Alex Jones. The chemicals are turning the butterfly ballots gay. And he didn't like that at all. It was the last time he ever appeared on a panel, actually. But all right. Now I'm going to say for Tyler's Gin, to fighting, stealing, and drinking. If you're going to fight, may it be against those no good bastards who tried to take Tucker off TV. If you're going to steal, may it be views away from Fox News and bringing them right here to Hazard Analysis on YouTube. And if you're going to drink, by God, I hope it's raising a glass to us beautiful bastards over here.
I gotta ask, Phil, why do you keep buying gin? You know what it's gonna do.
Right?
They're gonna say gin, and you're gonna have to drink it. Just stop buying it. Sorry, there's no more gin.
This is my last bottle that I have in the house, and this is all
not
that's
for
left.
Long.
Fuck you,
Not
yeah.
for long, buddy.
Yeah, Tony keeps fucking buying them and bringing them over.
Oh, Tony, you're a saint.
I bought this one because it was Snoop Dogg's gin, and it gave me an excuse to talk to the guy who gets me. Alesto, this is a oh no. Are you making me take a shot of gin now, Alesto? This is you hate me. Like I was about to say, unfollows. I was about to say, I thought Alesto was gonna be like, nope, Phil, fuck you, take a shot of gin. I was gonna be like, well, shit, I'll go get my glass here and such. But no, Alesto, because you are a true blue subscriber of subscribers, make it. You know what, guys? I was just starting to like you. All right, I'll be right back. God damn it. I do this only for you. The really nice allocated bottles. And so that's literally the only reason I bought this was because
I brought him like a big bottle of really crappy supermarket gin during one of his live streams last year.
Is there good gin?
No.
It doesn't exist.
It does not exist. Nobody's ever been able to eke out good gin.
Because there's worse things than gin. That is true.
Yeah, like Fireball whiskey. True. I want to find the bastard that did it.
Oh. Well, actually, Fireball is actually, it profits $2 billion a year on the sale of Fireball alone. Yeah. And the way that a lot of these allocated bottles actually get allocated, I don't actually have one right here at the moment. Like it's all just out of reach. But those allocated bottles, like those big, heavy, like Pappy Van Winkles and the stuff that cost thousands of dollars, they make almost nothing on those compared to what they make off of Fireball. So the people who actually get the allocated bottles are people who sell a shit ton of Fireball. Yep. Like it's a weird business model.
You should not be able to sell a shit ton of Fireball. Nobody should like it.
Well, actually, it used to be based on a Canadian whiskey recipe where they take Canadian whiskey and mix cinnamon, and it was called Dr. McGillicuddy's.
All you had to say was whiskey. Canada. All I needed to hear was Canada.
True.
Blame Canada.
Blame Canada. Yes, but like that's kind of where the cinnamon whiskey thing came from. Is okay, so you can blame Canada for it again.
Makes a good product.
Sick bastards.
Oh wow! All right, so now. We have come to that point for this particular story. Now, you kind of got it on the tail end, but this is beautiful. You get to have a fresh hazard and analysis. So for the Tucker Carlson, we got plenty more to come, folks. But for Tucker Carlson, the hazard and the analysis. Tony, because Lethe just got here, I think it'd be more than appropriate if one of us led the hazard and the analysis. I nominate you, T.
All right. So the hazard of this is you hate to see knee-jerk reaction from any industry, business whatsoever. It doesn't matter. Knee-jerk reactions to things doesn't matter. You hate to see it affect everybody who's a fan just because say Subway's out there, right? Remember when Subway had a great spokesperson? Everybody liked Subway. It's a great diet plan, and then all of a sudden stuff kind of happened badly. Well, this isn't exactly the same thing.
Yeah, it's about to say there's some differences here.
I mean, there's some different things. It's not exactly comparable, but we're talking about the face of a franchise here. A knee-jerk reaction, and this is kind of the opposite spectrum of that, whereas maybe Jared's not exactly going to be able to write his own ticket. Tucker can do that. So
I dropped my lighter when you said that. Like Jesus Christ.
I was hoping to pop you a little bit with that one, frankly. But no, it's just knee-jerk reactions, especially right now. Take it solely from a conservative point of view on this, which I'm deviating to the right of the spectrum to give you this hard-hitting point. Take it from a conservative perspective and say a knee-jerk reaction from Fox right now heading into the 2024 cycle for presidency that's probably not going to be good. You're going to see more fracturing of the conservative party. You're going to see more divide. You're going to see a lot more narratives being spun.
Yes, you are correct, Nolan Richardson. Jared from Subway is an enemy of KOE Nation. Oh, that's a little heavy, but I don't care. This is for you, beautiful people. And I'm going to say the classic toast to fighting, stealing, and drinking. If you're going to fight, may it be for a friend. If you're going to steal, may it be a lover's heart. And if you're going to drink, by God, I hope it's with me. Ah. Alesto, for that, this Friday, you owe me one. You have to give one to Tony. That was pain. That was pain. So we continue.
Fun instead
God,
of trying to actually take on the left and the Democrats. So I think this is just going to be bad overall unless they can kind of regroup, rethink, and find some way to sing Kumbaya. And the analysis is this: Tucker Carlson, yeah, he's going to be able to do whatever the fuck he wants, and he's going to do whatever the fuck he wants. And I'm actually kind of excited to see what he does on his own, because we expect that to be it. Because I think it'll be a lot less narrative driven, and
You
at
say?
the core of
What,
it, like I
what
said
would that be,
earlier,
sir?
whether you agreed with his take or not, at least he believed partly in what he was saying. He at least had a core of truth in what he was talking about and believed that.
Oh, this is beautiful.
Now he prettied it
This is
up and he put a lot of
happening
extra
Alesto.
narrative on it, because that was the job. So I'm kind of excited to see what he can do with the Fox tag handcuffs taken off and actually just giving his take on it. I think that'll be a lot more impressive over the long haul.
I gotta say, Lethe, the look of disdain on your face where he said, "Oh, the truth and the light and the justice and the glory that Tucker Carlson brings." Like
I didn't say any of that.
Bro
I was inferring a little bit.
He was just
Inferring
asking
a lot.
questions.
Now, okay, Lethe, our fine guest this evening. What do you believe is the hazard of this Tucker Carlson Fox debacle going forward? And what is your final analysis on it, sir?
The hazard, I'm going to say, is that we can no longer share our bullshit views that we don't believe in with the general public under the mask of just asking questions. This is a sad day in cable media news. It's going to be hard because we actually might have to do some journalism and get some actual facts to tell people rather than just going, are there aliens sitting outside of our atmosphere? Maybe, maybe not. What do you think?
There's no evidence that there's not. Just asking questions here, motherfucker. Okay. And the closing analysis, sir.
And the closing analysis is, in the future, we may or may not see some more integrity coming from our news agencies now that they know they can get slapped with millions of dollars in lawsuits and get put on blast for everything they've said behind the scenes. I hope this creates a new level of transparency going further, because I don't like them. I don't like any of them that much anyway.
The hazard is, to me, that we are going to fall further and further and further into our own echo chambers, and the chasms between them are going to widen like canyons. Because especially in our modern culture, there is no commonality anymore. Like in the 90s, Garfield, great example. Garfield. Whether you liked Garfield, hated Garfield, didn't give a shit, you still had some level of awareness of what Garfield was. And we all had that cultural commonality of experience. In the era of the internet, we do not have that. And Tucker leaving Fox News is a further balkanization of the American body politic and further balkanization of our minds. And so to me, something always seems a little wrong whenever someone's being silenced. It's like I just posted on Twitter actually yesterday. Banning people and censoring people doesn't prove that you're wrong. It just proves that you're scared. And so to me, I don't like what's happening here, but it seems like this is a multifaceted issue where, like Lethe said, and like I kind of touched on earlier, there's a deep-seated rivalry between Rupert and Tucker, to the point where they don't get along at all, and they both just kind of put up with each other because they were just giving each other mountains and gobs of money. But now Tucker, he can write his own ticket on that. But like I said, the hazard is the further balkanization of the American body politics mind. The final analysis of it is Tucker's going to be okay. He's going to be just fine. The problem that I find is, are right-wing figures going to find themselves in some way pushed out of participation in the 2024 election? Just like in 2012, Obama essentially audited the right-wing organizations out of participation in the 2012 election, and how the Southern District of New York prosecutor basically prosecuted the NRA out of participation in the 2020 election. Are we about to see something similar here with our news media, folks? And that is the final hazard and analysis on this. And folks, before we get into Tony's reading Garfield. Now, fine. Well, let's see. T, you want to get the Tucker Carlson banner off there? Because, well, now, Tony, we move on to a new topic this evening. And Tom, you got in just in the nick of time, because
yes,
I wanted to laser in on, oh, yes. This is the unfortunate part where Tom shows up. I'm sorry, Tom. Tits.
Forgot thighs.
But this is what it is, man, because of Twitch. Lethe's a suspect foot lover.
Yeah.
I trust me, I hate it, and this is a pain in the ass to do, but I got really good at editing because of it. Hey,
I like those baboon booties.
Hey, at least he's honest. It's like, so
Only
we got
Nancy
Tom,
Pelosi.
ass man.
Only
I'm a
Nancy
tit man.
Pelosi.
All right, you two,
Only
you have to break this gridlock.
Okay, I'm gonna go with ass.
Okay.
Just
Oh, ass is in the lead.
You can
Lethe.
build a booty, but you got to buy tits.
It's because they're worth it.
Yeah, it's booty. all
What,
day.
Bandit?
Got to go with
No. Lethe,
don't know.
what
What
do
are
you
you
have a
talking
vote
about?
here? You abstaining?
I'm definitely abstaining from this vote.
This is sexist.
Stop the steal.
Yeah,
I will not
Stop
be
the
party
steal.
to this.
Yeah, Tom just takes off. I will not be party to this. But all right, so I wanted to kind of laser focus in on one person, but Tony said, let's make it all the folks that we get to expect in this next coming, the election 2024 and you. So we're going to be going over the folks who have announced and are pretty basically announced. And we're going to go over, do you think they got a shot? They got a snowball's chance in hell? What's your thoughts on it? So, Tony, have you found the list, the master list of all thine running candidates, sir?
I don't know how to call it a master list.
The master list. I will refer to it only as such.
Okay, fine. Master list. It's coming from CBS. Your words, not mine, Phil.
Oh, okay. If it's CBS,
Just saying.
it's the bachelor's degree list, not the master's list. But all right.
Okay, fair enough. So, all right, we're starting out. We've obviously got the incumbent. Joe
All right, so-
Biden has finally officially made his announcement.
Dark Brandon,
After
let's
months of saying-
go.
Ooh. The big guy.
After months of saying that his intention to run for re-election, Mr. Biden made it official on April 25th with the release of video declaring, "Let's finish this job." And then more
Like I'm
Instagram
right. It's like
backwards.
I'm right there.
I understood
I know.
all of it.
Yeah, we know.
It's swayed Tom.
And, yeah.
It's got his vote.
He originally said when he was campaigning the first time that he would be a one-term president, or at least heavily implied so. So now
No,
that
he
he's
explicitly
nearing,
said he would be a one-term president.
well, my how the times change, and turns out it's a hard seat to give up. So Joe Biden has declared. So, folks, I guess that's the big one. Let's start there. Joe Biden officially declares for re-election.
Right at Lethe, sir.
Oh,
Joe Biden. I know real long shot candidate has it's, but like, what's your thoughts, sir?
I mean, an incumbent president usually doesn't do very well, but I'm going to let that slide for now.
Not lately.
Dark Brandon's myriad of accomplishments while just rocking aviators and pure riz is amazing. I heard Infrastructure Week every week for 4 years. You know what I never got to see? Fucking infrastructure. Just saying.
It's Infrastructure Week. We'll get to it.
So our
Like
previous
homework.
president, as amazing as he was, with every office in his White House filled to do the job the American people needed that White House to do, managed to iron out a deal with the Taliban against the Afghani government to release war criminals to basically overrun the country again after they told them when they were going to be leaving. Hey, bruh, we're going to be leaving on the 12th. So I don't know what you're doing that day, but we're not going to be here. And handed that off to the next president who went ahead and handled it like a boss. I can't even complain. We left all these weapons. Yeah. How much is it going to cost the taxpayer to bring them back? So if we brought them back, every conservative will be losing their fucking mind about how much money got spent to bring back equipment we don't even fucking need. But, you know, he may have a chance. It may work.
All right.
Sounds
Tony?
like
I'm
you're
sure
not
Phil
black.
has nothing to say to any of that.
Oh, we'll get to that. But Tony, you're next up on the round table here. So Joe Biden. I mean, now Tony, you've never met him personally. You always miss him by this
I know,
much.
I wish I could.
But he's had such an influence. I could see if you possibly.
So
if you did consider.
It's hard to deny. You know, most popular president in history, 800 billion cajillion votes, and none of them illegitimate whatsoever. Absolutely not. Not even a question. If you do, you're racist, Phil. Like the guy is just on fire. Like they're saying, the guy is just killing it at everything. It's not like Donald Trump said, "Hey, we're going to get out of Afghanistan." Then he lost re-election. Joe Biden comes in and says, "Yeah, we're going to do that, but we're going to push it back like 9 months so we can make a publicity stunt with 9/11," and then fail miserably watching, you know, the Afghani people fall off the plane. It's not like that happened or anything. I mean, he just crushed it. It was amazing. It was perfect exit. So good. So good. Gas prices never been lower this week. Just astronomical low as of, you know, Sunday. God, inflation, you kill it with more inflation. Eventually, it's just going to go away completely. He's going to tax the rich. Finally, somebody's going to tax the rich. Nobody making under less than 400,000 will be increased on tax a dime more. I'm sure that'll happen. Yeah, no, the guy's killing it. Most popular president ever. He's got a good chance, though, unfortunately. You know why? He's the only guy who beat Donald Trump. So if that ends up being his opponent, guess what? He's already got the first win. So it really doesn't matter how shitty he is or how good he is. He's already got the win in the win column. So if there's a rematch, he's got the advantage, like it or not.
So Joseph R. Biden, a real long shot. I just mean surviving to the re-election campaign, not like whether he's going to run again or not. Like the motherfucker's 80. Okay. Like, I'm sorry. Like once you get past like 75, every time you start coughing, all your relatives just go, "Is this it?" Like, so like that's a reality, and it's for both of them. Let's be frank. Like it's a, kind of an older electorate as of late, but
that's my G.
But, let's talk about all the amazing things that Joseph R. Biden thus far, like diving us headlong into World War III with Russia in Ukraine. And it was just revealed on top of the special forces that we have there that they lied to us about. Turns out just a few days ago, Russian and American planes were in a dogfight where they were basically they did everything. They were getting into positions. They did everything but start to open seeking missiles on each other. So we're already getting into dogfights with Russia in the Ukrainian airspace. And so, yeah, Joseph R. Biden. Oh, thanks thanks golly gee shucks for plunging us headlong into World War fucking III and this conflict that we're going to be playing hopscotch around for 20 fucking years. That's nice.
I
Now,
thought
in
Dark
terms
Brandon
of
was
bringing
coming.
those weapons back that you were saying, I'm sorry, but like in the art of war, you destroy your pots and pans and any swords that you're not going to use so that the enemies cannot use them against you. And don't bring them back because some people might whine about it isn't a good reason at all. To me, that's just a cope. The fact that whether we like it or not, the Biden exit of Afghanistan is unambiguously seen as a failure. Like as the history books will say 60 years from now, that was an unambiguous black
I would
mark
like
on
to
his
add
time.
an addendum on to the Afghani
Give me just
exit.
one more thing.
Because I have a response.
Yes, but this is just my
I have a
thoughts.
million
My final thought on Biden is he promised he would be a one-term president. And I think, folks, this 2024, we, the American people, should make Joseph R. Biden keep his campaign promise by making him a one-term president, folks. So yes, make
do
Joseph
that, eh?
R. Biden
Right.
follow his own campaign
How do you do
promises
that?
for a change. And now, folks, let's open it to the opening Ravel. All right.
It ain't over till it's over. And I'm sorry that I could not foresee that Kamala Harris would be this fucking unlikable as a human being. I knew she was unlikable, but to this
Well, I mean,
extent,
she's two things
Oh,
people
man.
don't tend to like: a woman and black. Like, what were you expecting?
You forgot to mention liberal.
Oh, mate, I think she's actually
Like,
pretty
their
good looking,
TVQ
actually.
is just horrible.
No, just it's the personality. Like, it's like her speeches are written by Chat GPT. Like, I am
I
standing in a
wish they
room
were.
here,
They'd be.
and
She would
there's
be
a
a lot
flag
better
behind
off
me,
if they were
and there's a
written by
microphone in front.
ChatGPT.
Yeah,
What's that?
agree.
She'd be a lot better off if they were actually written by ChatGPT.
Yeah, she must have had one of those early beta versions to write her speeches. The only
Like,
addendum
that's-
I wanted to add to the Afghani exit, I don't think Trump's exit would have been much better. The
I was
only
about
reason
to say
think it
Trump
would have
literally
been-
would have done the same thing, and everybody
would have been the best
like,
exit
all
ever.
that matters is that he got out. That's it. That's all that
The
matters.
only-
He promised we get
the
out.
difference-
That's all that matters.
The difference being he would have done it sooner and less people would have died, hopefully.
He would have
Because he
done
would have done it
sooner.
I
was
hope
supposed
when
to
he
be
promised
done
to do
in
it 9
February.
His
months.
timeline
Year
was
to
not
do
was
it,
9 months shorter than
he
Biden's.
didn't.
So
Not
yeah,
that I know
Trump's
of.
timeline was 9 months shorter, so it would have left in the early spring before the
But he
fighting season kicked off.
Didn't do it
Because the big,
sooner.
well, no, Biden didn't, but
'Cause he was out of
Trump's
office.
timeline was different.
well,
Well, the buck stops with who's in the White House when you do the thing. So the buck stops with Biden when it comes to the exit of Afghanistan.
There was
And
no
every
reason to
fuck
push
up along the
back
way,
either.
that's on him, whether
No,
anybody
I-
likes it or not. And
I
what's fascinating is
agree.
there's always
and
been
all
this
the
effort to
things he
pass the buck
fixed
on.
from the guy before too.
Afghanistan was a failure, a tumultuous, no matter what. Trump should have gotten out of Afghanistan during his presidency, not as a re-election bid. Fucking false promise. What I'm saying is, had Trump gotten out, he would have done it earlier.
Isn't Tom
That's
saying
the
the
only
exact thing
difference.
he was accusing what right wingers would have been saying just a few minutes
Right.
ago? Hey, they got out, and that's all that matters is that he's out.
That isn't what I said.
Whoever died
That is
along the
not
way
what I
be
said,
damned.
actually.
Whoever we betrayed along the way and got killed by the Taliban be
Not what I
damned.
said.
However many of the people
Not what
that
I
we
said.
left behind, which is tens of thousands, they be damned.
Not
But
what I
yes, they got out, so that's all that matters.
That's
So
not
like,
what
I'm
I said.
sorry, we left
That
a
is
lot of
not
good
what I said.
fucking people behind. And so
That's
like,
not
well, no, you were just
exactly what
hey,
I
they
said.
got out. That's a
No,
good
it's
thing.
not.
No, when you leave our people behind and our equipment behind, that's a failure.
That's
Like
like-
that's
That's like
like
when
I'm
the-
sorry, dude. It took
the
us 20
marathon-
years and $1 trillion to replace the Taliban with the Taliban. That's an L.
The
however you wanna
marathon
eat it.
runner that goes around the corner of the block, gets in a car, and gets driven like 8 miles down to the finish line, gets across the finish line. Well, I got across.
So
Finish
to
line.
get
That's
back
all
to the
that
thing you
matters.
were saying about people being angry about the money being spent, and we were mad, we were worried that people might whine about it. Literally, the right will whine about anything they can find. At one point, they were whining about a beige suit and
Hell
what
yeah,
kind
they
of
will.
mustard
Okay.
the president was putting on his hot dog.
That's not a reason to not do the right thing in tactical warfare. You know, like, well, the right's gonna bitch at me
It's
about
not
it.
Honey Dijon, and fuck
Like,
you.
that's not a reason for anything. But like, all right, Tony. like I think we're gonna argue about this one for a minute or two. So why don't you pull
Yeah,
up
we should
the next
probably move
candidate?
on. Let's move on
Because it's going to be the Afghanistan
see,
show.
It was always about
All right,
Afghanistan.
we need to hit refresh.
It has been for 20 fucking years, unfortunately. D, do you need me to add to stream?
Not anymore.
There we go. All right, 2024 Republican presidential Donald J. Trump. The Don T. Can you drop the election in 2024? Or actually, there we go. That's better. Sweet. So Donnie J. Trump. Now I'll start this one off since I'm over here on the left side of your screen, folks. Let's be frank here. Everybody is going to try to say he has no chance. No way. You're going to hear it's going to be kind of like a repeat of 2016. There's just no way that he's got any chance. But people forget that it was 44,000 vote difference between Arizona, Georgia, and Wisconsin was the difference between Trump taking the Electoral College and not. And I have said many, many times, if Biden cannot crack 80 million votes like he did last time, doesn't matter who he's running against, whether it's Trump, whether it's DeSantis, he doesn't walk away with the W. So this is going to be a lot slimmer election than anyone wants to admit. And Trump very much has a very real chance because he's got the name recognition. He's got the technical incumbency on the Republican side. And it really boils down to, can Biden crack 80 mil again? T?
Am I still laggy?
No, you're good.
Okay. That's what I was more concerned about. All right. So, yeah, it comes down to
any other candidates.
And yes, there are more than these two, I promise.
Yes,
so
these are just the two. These are the two the appetizers.
Yeah, let's go with the appetizers.
Hey, Osiris, how we doing?
Appetizer. I already brought that up.
Orange cheese
so,
ball.
Donald Trump. You good?
Oh, I'm great.
Okay.
All right, rock it.
All right. Donald Trump, the only man to ever lose to basically a walking corpse. That's a pretty big deal. Like I said, it's not nothing. It's not nothing. He's going to still be pretty goddamn appealing. Even if you were spurned by his loss, the things he did in the light of the loss, whatever. If you were a Trump supporter before, a Trump voter before, you're like, well, I don't like the way he handled this, or I don't like the way he handled defeat. And guess what? After 4 years of Biden, I'm betting most, if not all, and then some of the Trump core voter base is probably going to return to form to support him again, especially if he ends up being the nominee of the Republican Party. It's not like they're going to go, well, just because he did this after the election, I'm not going to vote for him now, because chances are it took a lot more than that to flip you on the other side of the aisle. So he's going to have the same voter base. And if it came down to Biden and Trump, I'm guessing you're going to see similar voting numbers, but probably not to the number or the extent that you saw the turnout last time. I don't know how it's going to turn out this time, because I didn't see, frankly, Biden beating him the first time. And yet he did. So it's going to take a pretty monumental effort for both guys.
All right, Lethe Water. What are your thoughts on Donnie J's chances 2024?
You really want me to do this?
Yes, I do. Oh, you have no idea. I want to hear you and Tom's take so bad.
Okay. So, Donald Trump managed some great things during his presidency. I really can't name them all. The best I can give you is jail reform or prison reform. That is a great thing in my mind. Mm-hmm. He was willing to listen to a lot of people most presidents wouldn't listen to. I can't say I agree with that, but it's a good thing to a degree. But he also managed to break some records in other directions, like, getting impeached twice in one term.
Impeachment
4
champion.
Years. Like that's an amazing thing. And so also the fact that he didn't help his supporters that were apprehended on January 6th by issuing pardons for these people. I don't feel like this man is gaining voters. I believe he is hemorrhaging voters since the point that he lost. Since January 6th forward, well, probably since COVID forward, he's been hemorrhaging voters either by death or by ideology. And the younger voters that will be coming in to vote this time around, like the first time voters, more than likely would not vote for Trump. So I don't have a lot of hope for him. I think he could possibly win the primary. I really don't believe him or DeSantis could win the general.
What I will say is Republicans recognize that Trump is not a typical conservative. He's not your standard like Ronald Reagan, Mitt Romney, or how, whatever you want to think of as a prototypical conservative. I wouldn't put Mitt Romney there, but
You mean not a conservative?
he was in the Reform Party in the 90s. He's not even really he's kind of an anomaly to the Republicans, but the conservatives, the Republicans, the Mitch McConnells of our party, they got everything they wanted out of him. They got the judges they wanted. They got the tax cuts they wanted. No new wars, which for somebody like me, I'll take it. And so, yeah, if you're looking, if for somebody like on the right, no new wars, judges, tax cuts, that's an A+ to quite a few folks on the right in terms of accomplishments. I know it's not much for some folks, but for other folks, that's fucking huge and life altering. So it just really kind of depends on which side of the political spectrum you lie on. But in terms of accomplishments, I would push back on that a little bit, Tom, but I do understand your
I think as far as judges, that was by far his biggest accomplishment.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
I mean,
that
the Second Amendment was saved and Roe v. Wade was overturned because of Trump.
He said it. He said it. Clip that and ship that.
Oh, I'll say it again.
No,
the Second Amendment was saved and Roe v. Wade was overturned because of Donald J. Trump and these judges that he appointed.
No, Trump claimed it. That's what I want you to clip and ship.
What? He hasn't said that
agree.
Yet.
No, he actually said that Roe v. Wade ended because of him.
Really?
He said this just recently.
God, was it on a True Social post? Please tell me it's on a True Social post.
No.
So one place I won't get banned. But so all right, fascinating. So like I know you got I know you don't think he's got much of a chance. I think he's got a very good chance because this is American politics, and don't let the American body politic, don't ever underestimate, okay, the American body politic. I mean, they put Joe Biden and Donald Trump in charge of the nuclear codes in this country. So who knows?
Let's talk about who else could potentially be in charge of the nuclear controls, folks.
I mean, you don't want to talk about Trump for another hour?
No, we don't have the
bandwidth,
folks. Yeah, no, we don't. And oh man, this is a big one. This one feels good. This one feels right, folks. Nikki Haley, like this is huge. Come on, how do you not love Nikki Haley? She is an American politician who served as the 116th governor of South Carolina from 2011 to 2017. And she was, for God's sake, she was the 29th U.S. ambassador to the UN for 2 years. And she's the first Indian American to serve as a member as a presidential cabinet. So there, she's got so many qualifications. I'm so proud. Stunning brave.
Let's see. Lethe, I'm gonna let you start on this one, sir. What's your thoughts on Nick? Oh, wow. Bandit says Nikki Haley is Dan Crenshaw in a skirt. Wow. Okay. Coming in hot and heavy. Lethe, sir, what's your thoughts on the Haley candidacy?
Who?
Yep. All right. Now, what I will say is she is, in fact, a woman that was elected in South Carolina. So that is very, like, now to be frank, if Ron DeSantis or somebody like him were to be the ultimate candidate, I'm sorry, Nikki Haley, you will never be the president of the United States, but you are a fucking shoo-in for a VP slot. Okay, like she would be perfect for a Republican who need, like, because South Carolina is one of those states that they won't try and grab. So if the Republicans can grab South Carolina in an election, it pretty much kind of cinches the electoral college. So she will always have a future in Republican presidential elections, but she'll always be the bridesmaid, not the bride. So, all right. Anybody have any pushback on?
Do you have anything on Nikki Haley you want to share? Your feelings on Nikki Haley?
Moving on. Yeah, that should show how much of a chance she actually has. If she gets like 40 votes, I'm going to be kind of shocked.
The fact that Nikki Haley hasn't dropped out yet actually kind of surprises me. I'm going to be completely honest. The fact that she's still in it, the fact that she announced to begin with, kudos to her. Yeah. And anybody else? Yeah.
We're good. Keep rolling, T.
All right. Another one that really, frankly, needs no introduction. I mean, this is incredible stuff, folks. How do you not love Vivek Ramaswamy? Vivek Ramaswamy. He's a 2024 Republican presidential candidate. He's the author of Woke Inc. and Nation of Victims. He's an American entrepreneur. He was an investment partner of something, biopharmaceutical.
Now wait.
Sciences.
Unless he's been divorced twice and then remarried a third time like Trump, I don't know if we're ready for another one.
Phil, he's barely older than you. Holy shit.
Okay.
Like by a month.
Now, like, this is one of those that, like, it's like Lethe said, who?
Exactly.
Like, why is this guy running? Like, it's like, it's kind of like, well, I mean, like, okay, Tony, he has, like, I'll be honest. Me, Phil K.O.E. running for president in 2024 has a better chance than this guy. Sorry, dude. You'll never be president of the United States. I don't know which one of your friends put you up to this, but it's not going to happen.
Sure.
Well, T, let's just scroll right on down.
Oh, okay. Lethe, do you have any thoughts on Vivek?
He's young, and that may resonate with some voters. He has no political background, so to speak, that anybody would even think he could survive in the Shark Tank they're about to throw this poor young man into.
Can't wait to see Vivek on the primaries. He's gonna be amazing.
Like,
how about Larry Elder?
Like, dude, come on, Larry. Come on.
Can I give him two fingers?
Yes, please. Go ahead, Lethe. What are your thoughts on Larry Elder? Oh,
fuck that guy.
On. I think
fuck him and the horse he rode in on, and whatever birthed the horse he rode in on. He can go fuck himself.
All right.
He's Candace Owens 1.0.
Oh man! Wow!
Hey,
oh, that was good.
Tell us how you really feel. You like holding too much weight.
Candace Owens 1.0.
Wow. Okay.
Damn.
All right.
That was beautiful.
I'm going to be considerably kinder to Larry than our previous guest here.
He's a spry 71 years old compared to Trump or Biden.
Now, Tony, that's teenagers in presidential candidate years. I mean, his hormones are almost not completely gone.
And they're all anti-black.
Well, like, to me, like, there's like Larry Elder, like, has said some stuff. Like, he's had a couple of things that I've liked that he said in the past. I don't like everything he said, but there's times that I've actually kind of liked. But even I'm like, Larry, are you just like trying to write a book about? I have run for every office, and I'm no matter how a long shot it was. I ran for governor of California. I ran for president of the United States. I'm going to run for the Senate. I'm going to run for the House, and I'm going to write a book so everybody knows what to expect when you run for every fucking office. I can see him actually trying to pull that off.
Is this asshole collecting badges?
No, thanks a lot, Larry.
See, I told you he's an asshole.
Yeah, Bandit, you are correct. Tonight we are the closest we've ever been to the Cuban Missile Crisis. It is a new world, and I'm trying to kind of keep a sense of calm, but we are going to touch on that a little later, folks. Catherine, Ramaswamy is 37 years old, but yes, I feel I do need to touch on that. As many of you know, there was a drone that attacked the Kremlin. Earlier, it was either earlier this morning or late last night, depending on how you want to look at it. And Putin has said he is going to basically attack who he feels the need to within Ukraine with impunity. We are on the precipice. Now, Bandit, I remember the night Russia invaded Ukraine. I was live streaming, And you can find it right here on K.O.E Nation on YouTube. If you go to my live streams, you'll see a picture of me over a Fallout 4 guy holding a big minigun. And it says World War III stream. Because I called that the day it happened. This is World War III. And whether we like it or not, it's the end of the world as we know it. A new world was born this day. I'm not sure if it's one for the better, but it was. Bandit, Russia has moved 2 nukes from storage to a Russian airbase. I have seen reporting on that. I'm going to remain skeptical on it, but I have seen reporting on that. But yes, the old world died this morning, and the new world was born today. And I don't know if we're better for it. It's unfortunate, but everybody within the sound of my voice, you all know I'm right. So let's let's try to keep a sense of normalcy here. Okay, folks. All right. So all right. Like I'm gonna put Larry's chances in not even the single digits,
gonna be
but
running
in like
soon
decimal
with all this going on.
I'm gonna put him higher than Vivek.
Can we run some negatives?
Yes,
no, Vivek's going to get more votes than this fool.
No.
This dude's going to get negative votes.
Right now.
People will literally vote against him.
I was about to say, I would take those odds, honestly, because I think Larry, whether we like it or not, Larry Elder has something that cannot be replaced in politics: name recognition. People on the right know who he is. Now, that'll help him in the primaries. It ain't going to help him in the general.
If you're correct,
he doesn't
have
that
back here and take a shot of gin.
I got you.
Hey, nice. All right. So if Larry Elder gets more votes.
Oh, God.
Who?
Hutchison.
Oh, isn't he the hey, I'm the Mitt Romney wing of the Republican Party. If you hate Trump, come to me. I think that's him.
Phil, how do you not recognize
Asa?
Hang on, I got this. I
thought it was pronounced Asia.
I did too, but according to Wikipedia, which I'm totally not reading right now, I see Hutchison. He was born in 1950. He's an American attorney, businessman, and politician, a member of the Republican Party, and he served as U.S. attorney for the Fort Smith-based Western District of Arkansas from 82 to 85. And
that's a hard A. That is Asa.
Yeah. But it's capital AY dash lowercase s backwards E.
To me, this guy's just trying to have a couple of fundraisers where he can eventually, over enough time, funnel the money his way. Winky face, allegedly. He's the sage of South Carolina. Again, it's another he's third behind DeSantis, but that's kind of like being the third biggest military in the world. It's a big fucking drop off after 1 and 2. Okay, it's considerable. So Tony,
right now.
Yeah. Now, Tony, read a little bit about this guy. If he's who I think
I did. There's not much more. He was a DEA administrator for the U.S. DEA.
Oh, he's
from 01 to 03, and he was Undersecretary for Border Transportation Security at the U.S. Department of Homeland Security from 03 to 05. And most recently was the 46th governor of Arkansas from 2015 to 23. That's what I knew him from.
So from the early 2000s, he was the
fan of what he did in Arkansas. Yeah.
He ruined a lot of college parties by, being in the DEA. And then he spied on you by being in the Homeland Security. And then he was governor of Arkansas. And from everything I've read about him, he's literally running to be the anti-Trump. And to me, it's like, okay, the super anti-Trump wing of the Republican Party is about that big. That big. A lot of people like to act like it's way, way bigger than it actually is. It's not nearly what people like to pretend it is. But anybody else have any final thoughts on Asa before he goes away and sells his books?
Yeah.
Anybody that wants to vote for a half gallon of vanilla ice cream, by all means, enjoy your boring experience.
Well, that's who won last time. Nice.
Not
Tom,
even Bluebell. It's just off-brand store.
got anything to say about Asa, or can you give a fuck? Like, yeah, he's one of those candidates. So yeah,
Look at
fuck
that
him.
smile.
He'll probably drop out before he gets vote 1, but he will fundraise a lot of money. So, all right, T, keep on the hits on a rolling.
Next up, the Democratic presidential candidates, Marianne Williamson.
Yes!
I knew you'd be excited.
She's fucking 1,000 miles out of her goddamn mind, and I love every second she's on the stage. It's just yes, please, like, let her moderate the debates from now on. Like, let's be honest, like, because
be in the debate while moderating debate.
Now, let me tell you, as Marianne Williamson, I need to tell you that I believe my chakras are in line, and they've been telling me that this is the policy for America. Like, all she is she's a feeler for Oprah. She's going to go through the process and take the lumps so that when Oprah does eventually decide to run, she knows what to expect when she gets the
again.
What do you mean by that?
She's going to feel it out again.
It's a different world than it was first time she ran.
Okay.
Did she bring her crystals? Probably. So, Tom, so you think she's a bit more serious candidate than just an Oprah feeler then?
I think she thinks she is.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair. I got this shit, baby.
In 2014, Williamson unsuccessfully ran as an independent for California's 33rd congressional district in the U.S. House of Representatives. That's a notable achievement, I guess, according to Wikipedia. She also announced her first presidential candidacy in 2019 and suspended her campaign in 2020, a year later before the Iowa primary, and endorsed Bernie Sanders. So, I mean, the accomplishments, I mean, they list themselves. I could go on and on, but
I don't think you can, Tony.
I just don't think I would vote for anybody that would ask me what my sign is.
Well, then you would not have gotten along with Nancy Reagan very well.
Also true. Any Reagan, I'm not a fan of.
Lethe's like, yeah, Phil, it's not for the reasons you think. Oh, okay.
There's many reasons.
So Tony using my template. So sweet. Nice. Oh, well, right. Justin, we miss you.
I'm trying to make your job easier, fucker.
Producer Supreme. But, all right. Tony, I think we, like...
Oh, let's talk about Marianne Williamson.
No, keep going. Keep going.
I'm only going to give it.
She has a Gwyneth Paltrow vagina-scented candle.
Does she really?
I'm sure of it.
Yes, I think.
God, I hope you're right.
Hell, I'm sure she was probably somehow responsible for releasing it. Okay, all right.
Here's the one, Phil. We're finally there.
All right,
what Phil's been waiting for.
Robert
F. Kennedy Jr. RFK.
I'll set the table for this one and kind of rip the Band-Aid off here. RFK Jr. is an anomaly in this particular election. Now, what's fascinating is people are going to say RFK Jr. has no chance. There's no way he's going to win because he's only polling at 19%. But if you look on the Republican side, other than a few outlier polls, DeSantis for at least a year now has been polling at about 19 to 21%. And all we hear is, oh my God, DeSantis is just going to defeat Trump. And so it's fascinating that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. right now sitting at essentially the same 19%, you're going to be hearing how he has no chance. Now, two things. Just the other day, because Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has been making some interesting news this weekend, whether anybody loves him, hates him, he said that he doesn't believe that biological males should compete against biological females in sports. And so this is somebody that's kind of pegging himself out a little different from your standard Democrat. And he's trying to appear like, and I think he's going to do so successfully, make himself look like he's a Democrat from the 1970s or the 1980s, which is kind of what a lot of people are hungry for. Now, I know he's said a lot of things that a lot of people are not going to like, but like it or not, he's got a non-zero chance of taking it. But the one thing I will say, and I'll just leave on this, in the coming weeks and in the coming months, expect some of the most vicious opposition research you have ever seen or heard to come out against RFK Jr. pretty soon, because he's polling a little too high for the Democrats' comfort here. So with that, gentlemen, what's your thoughts on RFK Jr.?
I'm going to start with, if somebody told me in life, and I'm talking by repetition, I believe in patterns. I believe patterns are a thing. If somebody told me I can live as long as I never try to be president, guess what I wouldn't fucking be doing?
Yeah, that motherfucker is tempting fate a little bit, ain't he?
Moving forward from, I wanted to start with the funny part of it. This dude is running debunked bullshit. He's the wackadoodle that could probably pull over some Republicans. So in general, I think if anyone should be afraid of this man, it's not the Republican, it's not the Democrat Party, it's the Republican Party for pulling people from their side over to split their vote. I feel he's a Q plant. You guys should be dealing with this shit right here, right now.
Yeah.
Q sit him.
Avoid. Oh, Bandit says avoid tall buildings and hotel kitchens, and also turnpikes.
Rides.
But
grassy knolls.
And like, hang on, folks. Before we get into anything else here, I have another amazing introduction. The one, the only, the indomitable, the incredible, the powerful, the one, the only, Iko Rich. I mean, sorry, Tom kind of encouraged me. How we doing, Iko?
Recently that RFK Jr. and Ron DeSantis are at the same polling level in their respective primaries, which I think is interesting. I don't know if it says more about which of those two people. I don't know, but they are both at around 12%, something around that.
I've seen about 19.
That was not easy to edit. I learned a lot.
I wonder what the polling average is. Let me jump over there real quick.
Bandit, no.
Right now, I'm 50-50 Trump and Kennedy. Well, like, no, Lethe, like it or not, like, even like if it wasn't for the field, like, Kennedy would be a very tempting person for anybody on the right to vote for, too, because, like I said, he's positioning himself as a Democrat from the 70s. And that's something that folks from either side of the aisle could really sink their teeth into.
Yeah, and that's not too far from where Trump positioned himself, right? Like, it's very similar. I'd say Trump is more like...
I'm a Republican from the 80s. It's a little different.
Yeah. No.
I didn't like Democrats
Trump
until
is more Dixiecrat from the 40s.
Yeah.
But like, because he's got that similar sort of like focus on agriculture, like social conservatism, populism, all of that. He's,
like, I push back because there's a couple of not so good things about the Dixiecrats.
Yeah, no, yeah.
There's a little weight that comes with that.
Don't we like them? We like the Dixiecrats, right?
I'm not a fan.
Okay, thank you all. I needed that answer. I needed that.
You live in the South. You could give the truest answer to this. What's your take on Dixiecrats, sir?
I grew up with Dixiecrats. Yeah, I mean, my high school had the Confederate flag as part of its symbol.
Son of a bitch!
Wow. Our mascot was the Colonel. We were
Colonel Sanders.
Colonels. We were the Colonels, and he would ride in full Confederate regalia on a horse with the Confederate flag at football games. He would ride in like at football games and like run across the field and back and forth. Like, it was amazing. It was amazing. I've already doxed myself probably on this, but yeah.
Gonna guess you were in the South somewhere.
I left school one day, like walked out of school, and was handed flyers by the local KKK, who were recruiting in my school. So like this was my childhood. So yeah, I'm familiar with the Dixiecrats.
Okay,
damn it, quadruple damn it. So like, what is the South's fixation on losers? I've been trying to understand this for a really long time. Like, you can't go to Germany and find a statue of Rommel, but you go down south, you'll find every fucking chicken shit, general and subservient.
Well, that was a big difference between Germany and the United States, is that Germany decided to eliminate all vestiges of the Nazis.
You mean lean out of the storm instead of into that shit?
Yeah. But in Texas, in America, we have, a little thing called the First Amendment. So it's a little bit more difficult here. Like to this day, swastikas are banned in Germany, right? But you couldn't ban the Confederate flag in the United States. Like that would absolutely not be constitutional. You have to allow it. Like, yeah, they're racist motherfuckers, but
certainly
what can
distasteful.
I think of Lindsey Graham. Maybe it's
Lindsey
his
Graham.
lilting, deep South accent, that's got me going on that.
I'm on South Carolina. Look at my soft blue eyes. I'd never lead you wrong, would I?
That's RFK Jr. Tony. Oh, that's my phone. I was thinking, hey, which one of you assholes has an alarm going off on your phone? Oh, that's me. Whoops.
We have the same alarm, by the way.
Oh, I think everybody does now. We used to pay $5 to have a unique ringtone. Now I haven't turned on the fucking ringer on my phone in 2 weeks. All right, Tony G, RFK Jr., what's your thoughts on him?
So if there was an answer to the Trump DeSantis dichotomy, this is it. RFK to Joe Biden. I'm reading this straight from Wikipedia. Robert Francis Kennedy Jr., an American environmental lawyer and author known for promoting anti-vaccine propaganda and health-related conspiracy theories. He is the son of U.S. Attorney General and the 1968 presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy and nephew of President John F. Kennedy. Helped found the nonprofit environmental group Waterkeeper Alliance in '99 and has served as the president of its board. Kennedy also co-hosted Ring of Fire, nationally syndicated radio program, and written or edited 10 books. He is currently running in the Democratic primary as a 2024 U.S. presidency. Now, I think it's pretty telling that you've got one commenter right here on the show right now saying I'm 50-50 Trump and Kennedy. He's already decided who he'd pick for both caucuses, right? Who he would gladly have. Now, if it came down to those two, boy, what a fun debate that would be.
He only gets to vote in one primary, though. So my question is, which primary is he voting in?
I think the better question is, let's assume in this hypothetical scenario, Bandit, that it's Trump for the Republican candidacy and Kennedy for the Democratic candidacy. Who are you voting for in the general? Yes. I'll bring that around the room, actually. Lethe, do you want to even touch that one with a 10-foot pole? Because everybody's like, God, I don't know.
I would, if I had to vote Republican.
It's either Trump or Kennedy.
Well, see, that's not even an option. Like, I vote Biden. Like, so what's even the point?
What, does Biden run third party in this scenario? Is that what's happening?
We're assuming Biden doesn't survive another
two. If these were the only two,
and it's a hypothetical, it's a thought experiment. It's all.
Yeah, that's where I'm trying to get at. Like, I want to just be sure on that. If these were the only two people I could vote for,
not a wrong answer.
I'd probably have to vote for RFK because he's probably going to get. He's not going to be there very long. Something else is going to happen.
You're anticipating another single-term president.
As normal as
not even a single term, like 30 day.
Oh, he's thinking of the things that normally happen to Kennedy.
Yeah, I think he's thinking in patterns, Phil.
He's like, all right, make sure the Secret Service has ensured that wherever I go, I am at least 5 miles away from any book depositories.
Yeah. Sure, that's the way they'd go this time around.
Yeah, winky face. Yeah. So, okay. So now, Aiko, so between those two choices.
Well, let me just say before I say, this is going to be interesting because I live in Dallas and I've met many protesters here, like when their time for protesting was happening, which was, I think, last year, 2 years ago, of people in Dallas downtown who were in.
Catherine Meehan Civarillo says RFK Jr. has a disorder called spasmodic dysphoria, causing spasms of the larynx, brain, and nervous system that affects the voice. Not sure if that's I don't think so. Like, I've heard him talk about, like, now let me tell you about the Marisol, and like when like sometimes it kind of makes his voice a little shaky. I only see this being a problem when he has the State of the Union address. That's about it. But this is one of those weird things. This is why RFK Jr. he's pulling a rare Trump move in that he's making people think past the sale. They're already imagining him in the executive, and that's powerful because that's what Trump did. He already made you imagine what he'd be like in the executive. And let's see, Bandit W had more to do with right becoming anti-war than Trump did. Oh boy, true.
Insisting that John is not dead, and he's going to be Trump's vice president. So in 2024, that's what the QAnon folks believe. So in that case, I mean, if we're going down this scenario, right? Because you didn't say who the vice presidential candidates are. I'm assuming that it's Trump and John on one side of the ticket.
Rich, you're a savage.
If just for balance, I guess we've got to go with what is it? Trump's cousin, who's a Democrat that wrote that book, Mary Trump, as vice president for just to mix things up, right? Gosh, in that scenario, I guess I'd have to go with RFK and Mary.
Okay, all right.
And just hope we don't get another like COVID wave.
I was about to say it's like under the ICO that Trump timeline, win, lose, or draw, it delivers. It does. Hey, Jake, how we doing, sir? Good buddy of mine, Jake. But so all right, and then Tony, I think there's really only one guy left that we haven't talked about, and that is Ronnie Ron.
All right. So
now I will say there's before you hit that, I'm just gonna say one real quick thing. There was I forget who said it, but it was kind of a funny observation where Tom Cotton, he wants to be president, but he will never be president. Because this isn't my joke, but God, I wish I could remember who said it. He said, the thing is, naming matters, and no Republican. Well, folks, I'm going to interrupt that a little bit because, well, we got to get into something. Bandit talked about it a little earlier, actually. So we're going to get into this immediately, folks. And I was wondering what would be the best way to address it. And that's why I took the time. But yes, folks. Folks, this is a unique time in our history. This is a time that you are going to tell future generations about. This is the day when the old world died and the new world was reborn. A world born anew, if you will. Whether we like it or not. Because now there's been an attack on Russian soil, which now brings this war into yet another stage of escalation. And this is one where I don't see it coming back from here. We now have a drone strike, a drone attack on the Kremlin. This is going to have a response. It's going to be one of, I hope I'm wrong, but this has the potential to be one of the worst snowballing effects of the 21st century, because we have too many people that don't want to back down and don't want to lose face. We've got the Ukrainians who are fighting for their own country and their own independence. We've got the Russians who think this is part of their some sort of ancient Russian territorial manifest destiny. And you've got too many people that will not back down. And that's when good stop crossing borders and soldiers start. And now we find ourselves at the next escalation. So I want y'all to remember this. I was kind of mocked a few months ago when I made the call that this is World War III. This is going to escalate to a war in which all the major players are now in this war. And people are now, Ukraine's denying involvement at this point. Doesn't really matter as far as Russia's concerned. It's going to justify the next escalation. And so if that was all it was going to take, looks like we were going to get here one way or the other. I don't like it, but Bandit says, oh, Nikki Haley, she's running as someone from South who has disowned everything being Southern, and is anyone that identifies as Southern is going to give her a lethe. Okay. But yes, I want you to remember when I said the day this invasion started that this is World War III. And when I said it's going to end with some shape, form, figure of Berlin Wall 2.0, some sort of barrier that wasn't there before, that we're all now going to have to play political hopscotch around for the next few decades. And here we are. Here we are. And it's unfortunate that I find myself being correct in this regard as well. I wish I was not, but here we are. Reuters reports Russia says Ukraine tried to kill Putin with nighttime drone attack on Kremlin. Oh boy. May 3rd. Russia accused Ukraine on Wednesday of attacking the Kremlin with drones overnight in an attempt to kill President Vladimir Putin. The most serious allegation that Moscow has levied at Kiev in more than 14 months of war. President Volodymyr Zelensky promptly denied any Ukrainian involvement, telling a press conference in Helsinki, quote, "We don't attack Putin or Moscow. We fight on our own territory," end quote. A senior Ukrainian presidential official said the incident instead suggested Moscow was preparing a major, quote, terrorist provocation, end quote. U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken said Washington had not been able to validate the reported attack and that Russian assertions should be taken with a, quote, very large shaker of salt, end quote. Russia reserved the right to retaliate, Putin's office said, and Russian hardliners demanded swift retribution against Zelensky himself. Quote, 2 uncrewed aerial vehicles were aimed at the Kremlin. As a result of timely actions taken by the military and special services with the use of radar warfare systems, the devices were put out of action, end quote, the presidency said in a statement. Quote, "We regard these actions as a planned terrorist act and an attempt on the president's life, carried out on the eve of Victory Day, the May 9 parade, at which the presence of foreign guests is also planned. The Russian side reserves the right to take retaliatory measures where and when it sees fit," end quote. End quote. Video shows explosion over Kremlin. Baza, a Telegram channel with links to Russia's law enforcement agencies, posted a video showing a flying object approaching the dome of the Kremlin Senate building overlooking Red Square, site of next Tuesday's Victory Day parade, and exploding in an intense burst of light just before reaching it. 2 similar videos posted on social media showed 2 objects flying on the same trajectory towards the dome, with the clock on the Kremlin's Spassky Tower reading 2:27 and 2:43. The first seemed to be destroyed with little more than a puff of smoke. The second appeared to leave blazing wreckage on the dome. Reuters checked on the time and location indicated that the video could be authentic, although it was not clear how Ukraine, if it were involved, could seriously have expected to kill Putin with a drone strike on the Kremlin, a huge historic walled citadel at the heart of Moscow. Ukrainian presidential advisor Mikhailo Podolyak, boy, I butchered that, said in comments sent to Reuters, in quote, "In my opinion, it is absolutely obvious that both quote reports about an attack on the Kremlin, end quote, and simultaneously and supposed detention of Ukrainian saboteurs in Crimea clearly indicate the preparation of a large-scale terrorist provocation by Russia in the coming days, end full quote. There's a photo of what has happened, folks. Let's give you a little bit larger view there. Oh no. So the article continues. The powerful speaker of the lower house of Russia's parliament, Volodin, demanded the use of, quote, weapons capable of stopping and destroying the Kiev terrorist regime, end quote. And former President Dmitry Medvedev, now deputy head of Russia's Security Council, said the incident, quote, leaves us no option but to physically eliminate Zelensky and his clique, end quote. Putin, quote, rarely goes to the Kremlin, end quote. But a British expert on Russia, Mark Geliato, said it was unlikely that the alleged attack had targeted Putin, who, quote, notoriously rarely goes to the Kremlin, let alone stays there overnight, end quote. Quote, if we presume it was a Ukrainian attack, end quote, Gelato tweeted, quote, consider it a performative strike, a demonstration of capability and a declaration of intent. Don't think Moscow is safe, end full quote. The presidential administration said fragments of the drone had been scattered on the territory of the Kremlin complex, but there was no casualties or material damage. The RIA news agency said Putin had not been in the Kremlin at the time and was working on Wednesdays at his Novo-Orgyavoyov residence outside Moscow. Victory Day is a major public holiday commemorating the defeat of Nazi Germany in World War II and a chance for Putin to rally Russians behind what he calls his, quote, special military operation, end quote, in Ukraine. Russia marks the occasion with a huge military parade on Red Square for which seating has already been erected. The state news agency TASS said the parade, for which the Kremlin last week announced tighter security, would still go ahead. Before the drone attack was announced, some 10 hours after the event, Moscow Mayor Sergei Sobyanin said the city had introduced an immediate ban on unauthorized drone flights. Russia has accused Ukraine of numerous cross-border attacks since the start of the war, including strikes in December on an airbase deep inside Russian territory that houses strategic bomber planes equipped to carry nuclear weapons. In February, a drone crashed in Kolmona, about 110 kilometers, 70 miles, from the center of Moscow. Ukraine typically declines to claim responsibility for attacks on Russia or Russian annexed Crimea, though Kiev officials have frequently celebrated such attacks with cryptic or mocking remarks. Oh, boy, howdy. So, has there been any updates on the nukes? No, there has not. I will look into that right now, actually. You know what? Why not? Russia moves nukes. Let's see. What's it? News. Let's see. Give me something. These are all a month old. Give me something a little newer than that. Let's see. I'm looking for an article here. But you know, I tell you what, while I look for this article here, I'm gonna do a really quick video for all y'all because I love you all because you're all beautiful people. We're gonna do, you know what? Because I want to make sure that I got a good article for you. Okay. So what I'm gonna play here while we while I look for the best possible article for you, is going to be, yep, the biblical verse of the week. This is Aiko's favorite biblical verse, actually. So while I look for this article, which will be the best article for me to show you, this is Aiko Rich's favorite biblical verse. Let me get it. Go. Stop one screen, present, and share a new one. While I find the best possible article to share with you about these tactical. Let me make sure I got everything perfecto. The muy of the est perfecto. Perfect Spanish, motherfuckers. All right.
How we doing, all y'all? This is a very special biblical verse of the week. This is a request by the great K.O.E. Rich. So thank you very much. And this is his personal favorite biblical verse, Matthew 13:10 through 17. And he prefers the King James Version. So here we go. And the disciples came and said unto him, Why speakest thou unto them in parables? He answered and said unto them, Because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it is not given. For whoso hath, to him shall be given, and he shall have more abundance. But whoever hath not, for him shall be taken away even that he hath. Therefore speak to them in parables, because they seeing see not, and hearing they hear not, neither do they understand. And in them is fulfilled the prophecy of Isaiah, which saith, By hearing ye shall hear, and shall not understand. Seeing ye shall see, and shall not perceive. For this people's heart is waxed gross, and their ears are dull of hearing, and their eyes they have closed, lest at any time they should see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and should understand with their hearts, and should be converted. I should heal them. But blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear. For verily I say unto you, that many prophets and righteous men have desired to see those things which ye see, and have not seen them, and to hear those things which ye hear, and have not heard them. Matthew 13:10 through 17. Aiko, this one's for you. There's a biblical verse you'd like me to read that has some special meaning to you, or just your favorite, or just one that you find beautiful and profound in some way, please just drop it in the comments or in any way you know to get a hold of me. God bless every last one of you folks. Travel well.
You know what? I'm going to be honest with you, folks. This one's kind of hard to find. Like, all I'm finding is stuff from a month ago. So I'm going to give me a few more minutes. So this is a Koval oat whiskey that Tony hates. I will be right back, folks. Welcome, one and all, to the K.O.E. Nation for what is undoubtedly the most highly anticipated review of the night for Tony G. I am your King of Extreme Phil, K.O.E., the man of the hour, the man with the power, the man that makes the other podcast cower, the prince and potentate of the political party. Yeah, back here, T. And one damn handsome man, if I do say so myself. And I'm here with my indomitable broadcast partner right here at the K.O.E. Nation, the one, the only.
Incredulously disappointed, very sad, very weary. Tony, effing like, share, subscribe.
Tony, it's going to be okay. You're kind of like Jafar, he's our man. If he can't do it, great. We're getting into Koval oat whiskey.
No.
You love it so much. In fact, I think I was looking at the description to the millet whiskey that Tony adored.
Literally one of the worst things
and
I've
Tony,
ever had.
This is single barrel.
Ooh, goody!
Oh, whiskey.
The only highlight is that means there's less of it.
Okay.
I mean, not to, put the cart before the horse, but I'm guessing this is going to suck ass.
Well, Tony, we tried Pickering Brothers oat whiskey.
Yes.
And it was just an
a
unqualified
it was an unqualified meh.
Yeah, I'll leave a link to that too. But all right, let's hear the cork pop.
Oh my god. Came out of nowhere. Oh.
Okay, T. So that's plenty. I know what you're thinking. You didn't get enough.
Can't see it, but my eyes is twitching.
No. Once poured out, it cannot be replaced. It's
keep the cork.
No. Give me the cork.
Mine now.
God damn it. Just cork it, T.
No.
What if you love it?
I'm not gonna love this.
What if it's the greatest whiskey you've ever had?
It won't be.
You don't know.
You don't know. Yes, I know. It's gonna suck ass.
Gave you plenty so you can make a good
Oh,
judgment.
thank God. I've got a great
So-
sample size here that's probably maybe gonna not be the last.
So, T,
Ain't gonna be my mouth either.
let's take it to the nose.
Ooh, can we? Oh, Stampalicious. Ah, K.O.E. and that fucking trademark stamp nose and flavor.
God damn it. These are the 25-cent stamps. These aren't the forever stamps.
Oh, boy. Means it's going to be even better.
No, wait. These are Memorial Day stamps.
Oh, man.
Give it a nose.
Wait. Oh, you're right. Hang on. This is the JFK stamp.
Oh.
Through the head.
Okay.
This is like if you soaked the stamp in water for an extended period of time and then ate it.
Koval, I appreciate the experiments.
You don't.
But some of them are bordering on crimes against.
It's not even an experiment. You're making.
We'll finish that a little later. Okay, folks, I found, and this will be added in my overall, I'll addendum this together, but okay, apparently where the rumors of the nuclear missiles being moved came from is from Vladimir Osechkin, the founder of Gulagu.net, Gulagu.net, said during his live stream tonight that one of his sources had information that 2 Russian nukes were transported to the airbase and could be used on Ukraine this very night. And he says, I'm going to be going through the translation here, folks. Tonight, there could be missile strikes on administrative buildings in Kiev. A few minutes later, one of our sources connected to the ground forces, I'll name which one it is later. It's the service that is in charge of guarding the so-called products. Products is their code word for the nuclear arsenal. He reported the following: for the first time, nuclear weapons could be used. 2 products are already located at the aforementioned airbase. 2 products. The details we'll disclose later. It's important to understand that our source from long-range aviation is risking his life. So, yeah, that's according to this Vladimir Oshilkin. And when people are asking, is this a legitimate source or like a false flag? Apparently, he's a human rights activist. He's on Putin's kill list. He's the one who recently exposed some Wagner's war crimes, apparently. This is all according to Twitter. But yeah, that's, it's rumor and innuendo at this point, but take that for what it is. Like Bandit said, if you've ever thought about being the praying type, tonight is the night. It really is. It really is, Bandits. And yeah, that's a scary, scary, scary proposition, folks. I don't like it any more than you do, but here we are. I'm gonna look something up and kind of get something ready because I'm gonna do a very, very quick review here. Come on now. Just trying to get to a point where I can full screen something. All right. Found it. Got it. Correction, we're way beyond Sputnik. That is true. That is true. But before we get into that, because you mentioned being the praying type, I'm going to get a little deeper into that because I want to. But first, a quick review, folks, of welcome one and all to my review of Phillips Apricot Brandy. So, folks, or flavored brandy, rather. I am your King of Extreme Phil, K.O.E, the man of the hour, the man with the power, the man that makes you the podcast cower. And this is one that I've had in my shelf for a long, long time, but I've just never had the time to get into. But we're going to get into it tonight with you. Let's get to that fresh cork pop. Oh, yeah. Yep. Like cracking your neck in the morning. But apricot flavored brandy is an essential ingredient to quite a few cocktails. But yes, folks, right here at the K.O.E Nation, I hope you like, share, subscribe. We're going to get right into this bad boy. Not a lot of smell there. It kind of has almost a hairspray smell. Doesn't taste too bad on the palate, but on the nose, it's not all that pleasant. But on the palate, you definitely get the apricot. So, folks, for those who don't know, we grade on a 5-star scale. 5 meaning you have to have it before you shuffle off this mortal coil. 0 meaning pass it on by. The K.O.E Nation has advised you well. So we're going to grade this as a brandy. We're going to grade this as a cask-aged spirit. It's shelving. And then for those new to the show, the secret fourth question. So, folks, as a brandy, I'm going to give this 2.5 stars. It's not bad. It's drinkable. It's enjoyable, but it's not going to knock your socks off. In terms of a cask-aged spirit, I'm going to give it 1.75 because it doesn't really give you much here. But hey, thine own self be true. In terms of shelving, definitely bottom shelf. And will I seek it again? Well, I'm going to put right here. This is the MSRP because I can't remember what I paid for it. I don't think I will. I think I'm going to go a little sweeter if I were to go with another brandy. But folks, all that being said, thank you for joining us for this impromptu review. God bless. Travel well. Yeah, sorry. That wasn't very good. That's about what that deserves. So, Bandit, drinkable alcohol. Now, I'm going to do something that's a little different here, folks. I know we've been talking about all kinds of stuff tonight, but I'm going to get it going here. Hang on. There we go. Normally, I don't like doing that, but I'm going to do something a little unique and a little interesting, folks. I'm going to be doing this a little more because, as you know, I'm doing biblical verse of the weeks, but I've also found he's such a nice guy. There's, as a lot of you know, I've had a lot of deaths in my family recently. And there's been this one pastor that's been reaching out to my family, all of them. Like, as many you know, I had family last year who died in a plane crash. And my cousins, in a memorial to their mother, their father, and their sister, decided to go to Florida because they apparently really liked this one particular spot. This pastor was doing mission work in Cuba. He comes up to Florida just to pray for these people, my family, my cousins. And then he goes back to his mission work. And I'm like, man, okay. And so he invites me to his church. His church is here in Nebraska. It's about 4 or 5 towns over. It's Sutton Community Church. And just the nicest guy you would ever meet. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Prayers for, yeah. And so I asked him if it was okay if I played one of his services on my live stream. And he said, absolutely. Just let people know where I'm at and when they can come. And yeah, it's a Sutton Community Church on Facebook, and it's Pastor Bill Richards, such a nice guy. He has no problem with people seeing it. And I asked him if it's okay because I love reading biblical passages, but I'm not really qualified to tell you what each one of them means. But this is just a really good time, and it's from a very good man. So if you find this preachy, I don't care. This is my show. You're coming here to see the King of Extreme and what I think about all of this amazingness, folks. So with all that being said, let's see if I can actually get this going. Like, I've never actually done it off Facebook before, but we're going to try, folks. We are going to try. Let's see. Bam. What do we got here? Can we make it work? Oh, I think we can. We can. All right. Now let me get the proper, because he asked Sutton Community Church service 10:30. Oh, let me change that actually, because I need to say what day it is. Let's see. Community service Sunday 10:30 a.m. Some folks have to be told that, and you know I'm right. Bam, there we go, finally. Bandit goes, if you ask the left, any level of belief is extreme. So heck, you know what? You're right. I mean, I am the King of Extreme. This is K.O.E. Nation, King of Extreme Nation. And yes, any level of faith is pretty extreme. And like this, it's great as Pastor Bill Richards does more than just pay lip service to Christianity. Like every time I take the Lord's name in vain, because we're Midwest, like he'll always get on me about that. Like he's like just and so, but yeah, he's been such a nice guy to me and my family and just everybody. And I asked him explicitly, is it okay? And he said, yes. Let's always try to spread Jesus and our love of Jesus wherever we can. So folks, this is Pastor Bill's sermon from this last Sunday.
Your message this morning, I didn't think I put that in there. Oh, that's Cody's writing. Okay. The foot washer. The foot washer. We're in the book, the Gospel of John, and I want to read it. Our text to you this morning, John chapter 13, verses 1 through 17. When you're ready, Cody. Now, before the feast of the Passover, when Jesus knew that his hour had come to depart out of this world to the Father, having loved his own who were in the world, he loved them to the end. During supper, when the devil had already put into the heart of Judas Iscariot, Simon's son, to betray him, Jesus, knowing that the Father had given all things into his hands, and that he had come from God and was going back to God, rose from supper. He laid aside his outer garments and taking a towel, tied it around his waist. Then he poured water into a basin and began to wash the disciples' feet and to wipe them with the towel that was wrapped around him. He came to Simon Peter, who said to him, Lord, do you wash my feet? Jesus answered him, what I am doing you do not understand now, but afterwards you will understand. Peter said to him, you shall never wash my feet. Jesus answered him, if I don't wash your feet, you have no share with me. Simon Peter said to him, Lord, not my feet only, but also my hands and my head. Jesus said to him, the one who has bathed does not need to wash except for his feet, but is completely clean, and you are clean, but not every one of you. For he knew who was to betray him. That was why he said, not all of you are clean. Verse 12, when he had washed their feet and put on his outer garments and resumed his place, he said to them, do you understand what I have done to you? You call me teacher and Lord, and you are right, for so I am. If I then, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also ought to wash another's feet. For I have given you an example that you also do just as I have done to you. Truly, truly, I say to you, a servant is not greater than his master, nor is a messenger greater than the one who sent him. Last verse, if you know these things, blessed are you if you do them. Thus ends the reading of God's holy word. Let us bow our heads in prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this wonderful passage. Holy Spirit, we ask you now to lead us, to show us, to guide us, to teach us the power of these words and how we can apply it to each one of our lives. For this is not written as to be a passive statement, but it is to be injected into our lives that we may bring you glory, Jesus. Be with us now. Help us to concentrate on the words being spoken. And Holy Spirit, make them your words to each and every one of us. In through the ears, all the way to our hearts. The most important thing we can take from today, Lord, is what you want us to hear, is what you want us to do, not our own ideas. So let us listen. Let us interpret these words like it's the first time we heard them, fresh and alive, for your power is the living word of God. We thank you. In the power of that word, in the power of your Son's name, we pray all these things. Amen. The foot washer. Okay? The foot washer. What we're doing is a very famous passage. I think most of you have heard already before. But let me set up the scene for you. We are 24 hours away from Jesus going to the cross. We are starting now his private ministry to his disciples. We've come out of the public. We are into the private now. This is very, very important to each and every one of us. 24 hours before Jesus is hung on the cross, Jesus is teaching his disciples. These next 4 chapters are jam-packed with Jesus teaching his disciples over and over very, very important things. And they're very important things for each of us to know. And this morning, as we go through this, I want you to think of a couple of things. If I ask James, describe the word of love, what would he say? If I ask Kyler, how would you describe love? How would you describe it? Because that's what Jesus is about to show us. And what I challenge you to do this morning is this. How does Jesus show us his love today? Well, it's about washing feet. Keep an open mind. Let us learn, not something to be different, but what is the Holy Spirit telling each and every one of us this morning? How am I to love like Jesus Christ? This is the last Passover. All those pictures of the Last Supper, That's what we're talking about. It's about to take place. Well, now, wait a minute. How can it be the Passover if that's on a Friday and this is Thursday night? Very simple. If you lived in Jerusalem, if you were a Sadducee, here's how you rated your days. When it became dark, okay, Friday morning at 6 a.m. was Friday till the sun went down. If you lived outside of Jerusalem, if you were a commoner, if you were from Galilee or born in Nazareth, when Thursday night came, that was the beginning of Friday, all the way to the next day. So I'm just sharing that with you so you don't try to go, now, wait a minute, it's only 3 days or it's 4. Don't worry about it. When it's the feast of the Passover, that's why Jesus and his people were celebrating it right then. Stay with me. You can't get bored this soon. There's something here for all of us if you would just please listen. Because it's about Jesus, the Son of God, washing feet. What's in that for you, Zeke? It's the same thing that's in it for me. It's the Word of God. Let's get going. How is Jesus showing his love? We begin with verse number 1. Now, before the feast of the Passover, when Jesus knew that his hour had come to depart the world to the Father. Think of it this way, okay? What's the feast of the Passover? All right, in case you don't know, here it is. The night before they left Egypt, the Israelites, you remember this? The Jews were instructed to take the lamb with hyssop, a branch, cover your doorpost with the blood of the lamb. That way, when the angel of death came into Egypt that night, he would pass over your house. If not, if Simone forgot, the firstborn of her family would die. That's the Passover feast we're talking about. Trust me, every Jew knew what the Passover was. So they all came to Jerusalem to celebrate this Passover. It's jam-packed. They're in this upper room. Remember the donkey and going and all this. That's where they are. But now look at it from the viewpoint of if you were there. When Jesus knew that his hour had come to depart the world. Think of it this way. Maybe you can't even imagine that. It's hard for me, but think of being Almighty God in heaven with your Father. And you're born in Bethlehem. And you've lived in these harsh conditions. And you know that very soon, what? You're going to be back. Depart this world and go back to your Father. It's about over. It's like you're going on a trip, only Jesus' trip was a real trip. You know how 2 days before vacation or 2 days before you're anticipating. There's only one problem with Jesus. He needs to go to the cross first. He's got all this on his head right now, and that's what's going on in this room. Okay? Get the scene. Get it in your head. They're there. Within 24 hours, they're going to be gone. The disciples are going to be gone. And Jesus is teaching him and me and you something very important this morning. It's washing feet? Not really. Let's go on. To me, one of the most cherished words is at the end of verse number 1. Having loved his own who were in the world, he loved them to the end. How ironic. We have 11 men, 12 and 13. So, Simone, for right now, you've been transformed into a 16-year-old teenage boy. Okay? Here are the 12 disciples. Okay? We won't name who Judas is, but he's one of these 12. The one that will betray him. And Jesus has spent 3.5 years with these disciples. There's only one problem. They still don't understand everything. He has shown them, he has taught them. Guess what they argue about within the Last Supper? Guess what they argue about? You can find it in Luke. Guess what they talk about? Who's the greatest? But Jesus has loved them to the end. With his crucifixion coming, with him leaving, he still loves these 12. Let that be a lesson to all of us. Sometimes we get frustrated with our work, with our boss, with our helpers, with our spouse, whatever. Jesus loved those 12 till the end, and one of them was his betrayer. I love that, the way that reads. Knew that his hour had come to depart out of this world to the Father, having loved his own who were in the world. He loved them to the end. It was full, it was complete, the whole enchilada. Have you ever heard this one? I'll love you if. Let's go on. So there you have it. There's Jesus. That's the good side. But look what verse 2 says. We see the opposite right away. Verse 2. During supper, when the devil had already put into the heart of Judas Iscariot, Simon's son, to betray him. Verse 2. One of these 12 is going to betray Jesus. They all look guilty. No, not eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Good idea. But before the world began, Judas was picked to betray Jesus. We have Jesus loving to the end, and yet the devil had already entered Judas's heart. Have you ever heard the expression, how in the world did they do that? How would he murder his own family? How would he... Have you ever heard the confession sometimes of death row? I was just like taken over. I don't know. There are bad things in this world, evil things in this world. There was evil things in that room that night, and Jesus knew it. He knew who he was. He even says, whoever takes the morsel when I do, it is him. But notice what he does. Notice if he treats any of them different. Verse 3, Jesus, knowing that the Father had given him all things into his hands. Jesus had the power to do anything. He could have went back to heaven right then and there, but he didn't. Because he loved those disciples to the end. Because he loves you today more than you can imagine. Had given all things into his hand, and that he had come from God and was going back to God. You know, if the cross, the pain, the wrath of God against you, the denial of his disciples, and all that, and then, 40 days after you arise, you're going home. All that was going on, and yet what did Jesus do? He wanted to teach all 12, and you and me this morning, what is most important? What is most important about loving people? Have clean feet. No, we're not quite there. But it's very important. Stay with me now. You're doing good. So Jesus, 4, rose from supper. He laid out his outer garments, and taking a towel, tied it to his waist. Then he poured water into a basin and began to wash the disciples' feet, to wipe them with a towel that was wrapped around him. All right. This is where maybe you all know this, maybe you don't. But here we go. So Jesus, remember, his outer garment was what? No seams. Okay? Prophesied that they would cast lots for it, which he did. He takes off his outer garment. He takes a towel. He wraps it around him. Okay? How do you wash somebody's feet? If I was going to wash Zeke's feet, how would I do it? Would I put him up on a shoe shine stand? How would I do it? I'd get on my knees. Now, we wear shoes. They didn't wear shoes. We have apartments. We have houses. We have streets. These men walked in sandals, and sandals, they weren't Birkenbach or whatever. They were cheap, dirty sandals. These were dirty feet. Now, here's where it gets good. Let's say I go to Ed's house in Papillion. Okay? Only it's 2,000 years ago, there was no Ed, there was no Papillion. But just bear with me. The first thing Ed would do when I got to his house was, guess what? The servant would come and wash my feet. Why? You ever take your shoes off when you go to somebody else's house? It's exactly what they're doing. Nothing to be proud of. Okay? It gets better. Ed's a Jew. No Jew would ever wash your feet. That was only for Gentiles. Yeah, no Jew would ever do that. It's below them. Jesus not only does a Gentile habit, but guess how high up on the totem pole the slave that worked for Ed would be. If Ed had 10 slaves, guess what the lowest man would do? He would be the foot washer, with hopes of moving up to the dishwasher or whatever. There was no more menial task than washing feet. Now, you stop and think, well, why didn't the disciples think of this and get some points with Jesus? They're worried about who's the greatest. And Jesus is about to teach you and me a very important lesson about love. A very important lesson about serving. What is it? Let's find it. Then he poured water into a basin and began to wash the disciples' feet, to wipe them with a towel that was wrapped around him. Imagine if you were like number 9. It was dirty. They'd been in that house for a while. It was worn. This was a dirty job. Verse 6. We get to good old Peter, okay? What does Peter say? Lord, you're going to wash my feet? And Jesus answered, what I'm doing you do not understand now, but afterwards you will understand. You're not going to get it right now, Peter, but you will. And good old Peter. Peter, the one that jumped out of the boat, that tried to walk on the water like Jesus. What does Peter say? You got to love this. You shall never wash my feet. In other words, translation, I will never accept your humility. You are my Lord. You are my Savior. You are the Son of God. I will not allow you to wash my feet. How do you think that one's going to sell? Okay? But you see Peter's angle. He loves Jesus. No, you're not going to wash my feet. What does Jesus say back to him? If I don't wash your feet, you have no share with me. Okay. We'll find out what that says here in just a minute. What does Peter respond? Verse 9, Lord, not my feet only, but also my hands and my head. Okay, if you're going to do it, and if it's got to be done to be part of you, then do it all. Hands, head, everything. Now look closely to what Jesus says to each and every one of us. Okay? The one who has bathed does not need to wash except for his feet, but is completely clean. And you are clean, but not every one of you. All right, let's unpack it. Here we go. Foot cleaning. Here we go. Now pay attention. You're doing really good. Everybody's listening. So let's keep listening. He comes to Peter. You're not going to do that to me. Well, if I don't do that to you, you don't have any part of me. Okay, then do it all. Now let's look at Jesus' answer. This is very important for all of us. Okay? The one who has bathed does not need to wash except for his feet, but is completely clean. What in the world does that mean? The one who has bathed is completely clean. He said to Peter right ahead of that, if you don't let me wash you, you are not what? Part of me. Put them together. What's Jesus saying? Washing all of you is something, hopefully, God willing, all of you are your salvation. If you don't let me wash you free of sin, you're never going to be part of me. Each and every one of us has this guilt problem going on of, Jesus doesn't know about the 3rd grade. Okay? does. Let's make it simple. The good news is he's in charge of washing away your sins. That's all he's saying to Peter. I have to wash you. Only Jesus Christ can wash away your sins. Lucas, I was right the first time. I'll be wrong again. But only he can do it. I can't do it. He can. Okay? Peter, you got to let me do this. You can't be part of me without me washing away your sins. All of you who believe in Jesus Christ have had your sins washed away. Thank you, Randy. Thought I was going to run out of breath there. But it's true. Okay, so let's go on. The one who has bathed does not need to wash. Why? Because we're saved by Jesus' sins. But what does he say? Except for his feet, but is completely clean. And you are clean, but not every one of you. So back to me washing Zeke's feet. What is Jesus saying to them? Do they need to be saved every day? No. What does he mean by except for your feet? What is that? When I'm washing Zeke's feet, what is Jesus teaching us today about love? People, we can't keep living our lives as if you have never bathed in the water. Debbie V and I every day have to wash our feet. So we don't bring these dirty feet into Ed's house. What does that mean? What's washing the feet? What is he doing? I must do what every day? Wash my feet. I must repent of my sins. But you see, we get confused. We think we need to bathe every day in Jesus. Save me today. Save me tomorrow. Save me the next day. That's wrong. But James and Zeke can't be saved. They keep piling one sin on top of another because they're washed with Jesus. Yes, this is teaching about servanthood. Yes, this is teaching, most importantly, about love. But what is Jesus telling his disciples? I've done it. I'm about to do the whole thing. You're clean, except for one of you. Now, that one we can get pretty easily, can't we? Who's the dirty one in the bunch? Judas. Okay? Good. We're doing good. Now, look at 12. When he had washed their feet and he put on his outer garments and resumed his place, he said to them, do you understand what I have done? Okay? Here we go. Take us to Cuba, Cody. All right, you see that? I told him in Sunday school I debated whether showing you, because here's the problem. Some churches, especially on Maundy Thursday, they wash each other's feet. This is not a sacred command. So why am I showing you this? All right, that's my pastor with his hand on the knee, hand on the foot. That's Filiberto down there with the coat. That's Yenny with the red. The pastor in blue is a presbyter, his wife, and that's the driver, and he's also a pastor beside us, Alexei. Why am I showing you Randy has just done washing this man's feet? We still haven't answered what is Jesus love? What do we must have to love like Jesus Christ? This man here in the red, he has a slightly receding hairline like me. He has stage 4 cancer. He is 13 kilometers, about 7 miles from his church. He has to receive his daily cancer shots in this town. And on Wednesday night Bible study, and on Saturday prayer time, and on Sunday, he walks 6 miles from here to almost Grafton to do this. But he's got stage 4 cancer. He has no transportation. God took care of that. But why I'm showing you the washing of the feet, Jesus has just got done telling Luis and I, do you understand what I've done? Here's what it's doing right now. This man is a true servant of God. Okay? And sometimes we do things to servants of God. Now remember the love angle here. Okay? Is this pastor in red a humble man? You better believe it, because 99 out of 100 would have never walked back every day. In fact, he lives with another pastor, and guess what that other pastor told us when we got there? If you've brought me anything, give it to him. And I'm showing you this because Jesus has just got done saying, do you understand what I've done? This was done to honor our brother only. Doesn't free him from his sins, doesn't do anything else, but like me showing you Zeke, like Jesus washing all their feet, he's doing what? The master is honoring the servant. Love, how does this all play out? Next, Cody. See the guy in white to the left? We drove 8 kilometers, 5 miles. It took us 2 hours to get there. Drive up a mountain that's never been graded. It's dirt. Holes this deep. You drive around in all this. Okay? It gets worse. We're in a van, and all I'm thinking about is we're 16 hours out of Havana. This axle breaks. Billy boy, you're walking back to Havana. It's all about Bill. He's been there 17 years. Guess how many people have visited him and encouraged him? 0. Jesus washed the feet of his disciples to teach me and you about love. This man here, I washed his feet. Why? Because when we were sitting there, I knew that's what we were supposed to do. His daughter goes out, starts the wood fire to heat the water up, uses the last bar of soap, sneaks it into me, and we wash his feet. And you had to be there. Because it's very honoring to those that have served. I'm not doing this to say, look at me in any way, shape, or form. Next, Cody. This is his wife, and obviously it looks like I'm touching her feet, but I'm not. I'm sitting there, and Yenny is washing her feet. She had 5 children. The oldest boy married a girl. They had 4 kids. One problem, they had a little boy that had too much anesthesia. He's like really out of it, really bad. His wife, with these 4 kids, the oldest one was about that tall, split. Left with another man. This mother takes care of, that's the little boy right there, sitting there. That's the little boy. We never heard any complaint. We never heard anything. What's this have to do with Jesus washing feet? Trust me, if Jesus would have been there, he would have been doing, I think, what Yenny is doing. Humility serves love in a giant way. You can't fake humbleness. Okay, Cody. You call me teacher and Lord, and you're right, for so I am. I am your teacher. I am your Rabboni. We got to get this now. We're coming home. What's the deal about loving? What is Jesus teaching all of us? 14, if I then, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also ought to wash another's feet. Next Wednesday night, we'll have a foot washing. That's not what this means. What's Jesus teaching us about love? What's he showing us? We must serve our fellow man. That's absolutely right. When Jesus took it off and bowed and washed his feet, what was he teaching them? What is he teaching you and me this morning? To love like Jesus, what must we do? What was he doing for his disciples? You don't get this now, Peter, but you will. We must serve with total humility. We must serve with the love of Jesus Christ. But I can't serve if I'm not humble. I can't do it. So many people have turned this into a church ritual of washing each other's feet. And that's what I said in Sunday school. I was hesitant about showing this to you in Cuba because Bill's off on a tangent again. We're going to be washing feet before we know it. That's not what Jesus is teaching them. And he's teaching me and you. You want to love like me? What do we need to be? Thank you. Is that you, Andrew? I can't serve you if I'm not humble. Well, he was teaching them to be served others. That's true, but step one is humbleness. When Jesus was here the first time, he was humble. He went to the cross and justified you, Al, from your sins. It's great having 3 L's again. When Jesus comes back, the humbleness will be gone. Your glorious Savior is coming home to get you, to take you home. That is salvation. Justification first. What's the washing of the feet? The humbleness of love. What is that? That is our sanctification. That is growing every day a little bit more and more like Jesus Christ. That is what I want to do because of what he has done for me. That is why he washed their feet. Remember this someday. You'll remember what I did. A job no Jew would want to ever do. But he did it. Truly, truly, look at me. Or let's go back to 15. For I have given you an example that you should do just as I have done to you. Truly, truly. Now remember when he says truly, truly, it's important. I say to you, a servant is not greater than his master, nor is a messenger greater than the one who sent me. We will never be like Jesus. He will always be over us. Okay? If you know these things, you are blessed if you do them. We're going back to Cuba real quick. Okay? Go ahead, Cody. It's about 1:30 in the morning. This church was originally built with a tree right in the middle of it. They built right around it. This is Jomani in Granma, way to the east. That's Randy, my pastor, Yenny. And that's me in the Nebraska shirt. And then you'll see him in the next slide. That's Junior and his wife, the pastor of this church. Got there at about 7 o'clock, or it doesn't really matter. Preached hard till whatever time. They gave us desserts and all that. We're sitting around there. It's probably 10:30, 11. And you get any Cubans gathered together, Bonnie and Norris do this, with dessert. You stay till that dessert's gone. Whether it's 5 gallons of ice cream or 2 pounds of cake, nobody leaves till the goodies are gone. Sidetrack real quick. We saw a table one time, how far? This far, Norris, from here to the wall, Bonnie? And 4 feet wide. They let us go first. And we kind of nibbled, and it was good. And then they kind of just let the steers out of the gate. Okay. They got to that table with what, 20 minutes, 15 minutes? They used their hands as dishes. Boom, it was gone. And Norris and Bonnie and I were like, whoa, we thought we were slobs. I mean, they ate that sucker. The reason I'm showing you this is here's the reason. I'm teaching you about humbleness. Not to say, look at me. I'm preached out. We're done. We're tired. We only got to go across town. But it's about 11:30 or so, and they say to us, you need to come back into the church. And I'm like, okay. We walk back in and we sit down. The man in the green and white shirt is his elder. That's his wife there. And that's another lady, a really strong leader of the church. We get in there. They sit down. They sit us down and they said, you have served us with a gift we can never repay. But we're going to try. We want to serve you tonight. They start unlacing our shoes. The reason I'm showing you this next picture is we know this scene, you've heard it 100 times, Jesus washing the feet. But if you were there as his disciples, you would never forget it. Especially when you ran away from the cross, especially when you saw him lifted up to heaven, you would never forget him getting on his knees and washing your feet. Okay, Cody. I can't hardly just even look at that picture yet. Here's the thing. Each and every one of you has the ability to do to someone that you love that. When you serve them humbly, Jesus teaches us to love with humility. We have got to take humility before we do anything else, or it won't be real like his love. The water was warm, but the love, I'll never forget. Ever. Jesus taught us today how to be humble. Whether it's taking an old sandwich over to a neighbor, whatever it is. Remember the scene today. He was 24 hours away from hanging on the cross. He takes off his coat and walks around and does this job no Jew would ever do. To teach them not only how to serve, love only comes out of a humble heart. Each and every one of you today can affect people like they did us. If you are humble and if you know Jesus Christ. To God be the glory. Amen. Let us pray. Lord, for everyone, they paid attention the whole time. I thank you for sharing this message with us about what Jesus was really teaching. On his knees, washing the feet of his betrayer, loving them till the end. Give us your power to do what we don't think we can do. Give us your name above all names, the name of Jesus, to show today, this afternoon, tomorrow. Let us give with a humble heart. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Fantastic. Fantastic. And again, I know. And I gotta say this as well.
I have discovered, women, that there are 5 stupid questions.
There we go. Just exit the window now. But yeah, that pastor also, he did something else kind of extraordinary that I don't know quite how to quantify. I don't know, like it means quite a bit, but I don't know what. And like for those yeah, man of the Lord, definitely, and has been all his life. I've known him for a good chunk of his life. I mean, we've been in and out of each other's, life is long and everybody's got different journeys. But a very nice man, like he did something that, like I said, I don't know how to qualify. My brother and I's phone numbers have always been one number off for years. We've always had the same number for years and years and years, and we've always been one number off. I'm not going to say what, but you get the idea. Well, that pastor, after my brother died, started sending what he thought was my number, all these audio prayers where he would, do the audio thing like, we do in Facebook Messenger. And he would send these prayers to what he thought was my phone. But it was my dead brother's phone. and it really kind of put me back in my chair a little bit, made me think, but it was also incredibly comforting that someone was even unknowingly putting a lot of effort in and praying for my dead brother in some way, shape, or form. And so that's one of those, I don't know how to qualify it because he thought he was sending it to me and I just wasn't replying and he was just going to keep trying anyways. And he's a persistent guy. Catherine Meehan Severell, Bill Richard is a special person. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. But yeah, so he was sending all of these texts to my brother's phone number. And then eventually my mom told him, like, no, actually, that's Dana's number. And I think like that even kind of hit her having to do that. And yeah. So he's been there for my family in a lot of big ways. Very good man. Very good man. And he invited me to his church, which I'm gonna go to a service after planting seasons are done. I went to a Bible study, and oh my good holy Lord Almighty, just the nicest people you'll ever meet. Just every one of them, like, was nicer than the last. Like I don't know, like it was like, wow, I'm kind of a scumbag compared to all of you. Like, wow, this is refreshing. Okay, there are good people. There are good people out there, and so yeah, that was a really nice time. Just nice, warm, welcoming people. He's just trying to do his best in this world and trying to reach out to people and doing a good job along the way. So I think going forward, I'm going to be playing more of his sermons. I asked him explicitly, he gave me full permission to use that or any other of his sermons. And I think I'm going going forward, gonna probably play quite a few more of those, at least if not once a stream, probably at least once a week. Probably gonna do that. So yeah, tremendously nice man. And he just wanted me to let people know Sutton Community Church, 10:30 a.m. That service. That's all he wanted. That's all he just wanted me to let people know. Hey, church, come to church. Church is open for you. It's like, wow, what are you, one of those good people or something? What the hey? And yeah, that's when I had to learn how to like not curse again. That was kind of bandit. I say that in there's men of the cloth, and then there's those that actually doing God's work. Wow. Well, I like that. Nice. And yeah, he is one of those folks who's just out doing the Lord's work. And he's a farmer like me. I don't know how he even has the time or the energy or the gumption or yeah. And so I'm like, oh, God, good golly, Miss Molly. And yeah, also, if you ever seen that Trailer Park Boys episode where Ricky goes to court and he can't swear and he like can't communicate any sentences at all. Like that was me at the Bible study. Is like when he goes, Your Honor, the prosecutor's he's a piece of, he's a no good son, he's a bad man. And then he goes, Your Honor, I only got my grade 10. I can't articulate myself unless I can smoke or swear. And then he convinces the judge to let him start smoking and swearing in court because he can't articulate himself otherwise. It's a pretty funny scene. But like I was kind of having flashbacks to that at some point because I kept catching myself right before I would normally throw in a swear word. It's like, don't do that. So I'm working on that. I'm working on that because nice guy, but boy, he hounds me when I take the Lord's name in vain. And that's the thing. Like, it's just a part of our family's vernacular. I try it, but I find myself at least trying to catch myself a little bit. I'll say that. But like, I love that comment. I say that, and then in that there's men of the cloth and there's those that are actually doing God's work. That is a beautiful, like, you get comment of the night on that one. Bandit. Goodness gracious, great balls of fire on that. Now, let's see here. But yeah, I'm definitely going to be doing more of that into the future. I'm really enjoying my biblical verses of the week, and actually because we're all just here together, I'm going to give everybody here a little bit of an exclusive of right now. I've got 5 fully edited. 3 have dropped. 2 have yet to drop, and I got one that I just recorded yesterday of the verses that of Pastor Bill's sermon. His is I think it's the New International Version. I'm so terrible. I don't. Me personally, I like the King James Version just because it's "Thou shalt and said unto thee," and "Yea," he said. Like, it's so, like, somebody like me that loves like stage and performance. It's so Shakespearean, and it's written with like poetic prose in mind, and it's so beautiful in its construction. Now, I mean, Bandit, you probably saw actually. You were there when I was on that panel a couple 6 months ago about the question was, is Christianity relevant today? And it was me, Iko Rich, who's a Catholic, 4 edgy wannabe edgy internet atheists, a Jewish attorney from Canada, and about 2 hours into the debate, one very angry Muslim gentleman. And that was the contestants in this debate. At one point, Hunter Avalone showed up. It was interesting. It was interesting. When I was there in that debate, I was using like the New International Version, and like basically, I'll be honest, when I was in that debate, I was going to use whatever version had the verse that I believed bolstered my argument the most. Because let's be frank, I mean, like you're in that moment, you're in kind of like the intellectual battlefield. So, but like me personally, I do love the King James Version because I see it as just poetically beautiful, but not taking anything like. But when I'm in live debate, I usually find myself using the newer translation versions. So, kind of an interesting juxtaposition. And then there's I forget which one's the Catholic version. It's like, that's the funny thing, Bandit. I was he goes, my main Bible is New International, but I prefer King James. Like, here's the thing, Bandit. I was raised Catholic, and we didn't have to know shit from apple butter about the Bible. I probably shouldn't say it like that. Cow pies from apple butter about the Bible because, we were Catholic. It's just, whatever the Padres say. Like, that's literally how I was raised. So, like, now it's like, wait, so y'all are studying the Bible? Huh. Weird. Yeah, so that's like, but yeah, just the nicest freaking people you'll ever meet. And so I do see myself going back there, but I'll definitely be playing more of these. But yeah, I used to have years ago, lost it in a breakup, Mathis Publishing the Bible from 26 translations. When I bought it, like back in 2007, it was like $80, and so it's way more now. But it just had all 26 translations of the Bible. It was on each page. It was basically a research Bible. It was if you wanted to do really deep research, and I really wish I still had it, but it's kind of like, hey, can I get my hoodie back after the breakup? It's just the way that's just the way that cookie crumbles, folks. But yeah, and now what was funny is I noticed some folks at the study were using King James Version, some folks were using New International. And like me, I know so little. I wanted to do like the most fascinating thing to me would have been like, so why do some of you use that one and some of you use that one? But I also felt like that might cause conflict. I didn't want to do that. But like the reasons would probably be more fascinating. Like that's one of those like, wait. Let me get my camera, my mics, and I think we should have a podcast about this. Because yeah, that would just be utterly fascinating to me. But yes, folks, all that being said, that's just some of my thoughts on my journey in this life, if you will. But this is an exclusive world premiere, folks, of some of the biblical verses that I have recorded and some that have yet to drop. So, folks, this is going to be a little treat before we move on. Enjoy. This is Isaiah 58, 6 through 10.
58th Isaiah, 6 through 10. Is not this the fast that I have chosen? To loose the bands of wickedness, to undo the heavy burdens, and let the oppressed go free, and that ye break every yoke? Is it not to deal thy bread to the hungry, and that thou bring the poor that are cast out to thy house? When thou seest the naked, that thou cover him, and that thou hide not thyself from thine own flesh? Then shall thy light break forth as the morning, and thine health shall spring forth speedily, and thy righteousness shall go before thee. The glory of the Lord shall be thy reward. Then shalt thou call, and the Lord shall answer. Thou shalt cry, and he shall say, Here I am. If thou take away from the midst of thee the yoke, the putting forth of the finger, and speaking vanity, and if thou draw out thy soul to the hungry, and satisfy the afflicted soul, then shall thy light rise in obscurity, and thy darkness be as the noonday. Beautiful. So, folks, if there's a biblical passage that you'd like me to read, one that you find profound, just beautiful in some way, or has a meaning to you, please let me know. I love the beautiful, beautiful words that come from this profound book. And let's just enjoy this journey of life together. God bless. Travel well. Psalm 23, 1 through 6. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table for me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Psalm 23, 1 through 6. That is this biblical verse of the week. Folks, if there's a biblical verse you'd like me to read, one that means something to you, you find deeply profound, just let me know in whatever way you can get a hold of me. God bless every last one of you. I hope all of you make it back here happy, healthy, much the wiser. God bless you. Travel well.
Use Kayak to book flights on days that cost less. Download the
Nice try, Kayak.
Ephesians 3, 6 through.
Must be just because it's so popular, YouTube wants to put an ad on it now.
Ephesians 3, 6 through 19. That he would grant you, according to the riches of his glory, to be strengthened with might by his Spirit in the inner man, that Christ may dwell in your hearts by faith, that ye, being rooted and grounded in love, may be able to comprehend with all saints what is beneath and length and depth and height, and to know the love of Christ, which passeth knowledge, that ye might be filled with all the fullness of God. Ephesians 3:16 through 19, King James Version. This one is very special. It's also a very big shout out to Pastor Bill. Thank you very much. And folks, if there's a biblical verse you'd like me to read, one that means something.
I'm going to stop this for just a moment. Kath Catherine Meehan Civarello was asking, where is this church and cemetery? I don't want to say exactly because it's really close to where I live, but it's this adorable little Swedish Lutheran church that I was actually a pallbearer for a funeral for, because I was one of the few strong backs that was sitting there at the time. And it was this little old lady who had been the church organ player there for like 40 years, and she had died at like 80 something. And the pastor came, like they had just reopened this church just for this funeral because it was the only church it'd be appropriate for. And the pastor even said, in a weird way, this is like the passing of a dancing partner, because she always was there with the proper, like she knew the time and when to do it. And I was the pastor here for well over 11 years. And then there was this other pastor who had gone home to Christ previously that she had played the organ for. And it was just beautiful day. And normally I never see that church when I'm driving home, but the sun was just coming down perfectly. And I just said, you know what? I'm going to do I'm going to do this. And I actually recorded one more biblical verse off of or when I was at that church. And I might go back but that day the sun was just perfect and it was just beaming through the church perfectly. And it's been a closed church for years now. Nobody and so it's a graveyard with a lovely, lovely cathedral in the middle of it.
Something to you, one that you find profound, one that you would just love to see
it's
read
beautiful
out in God's creation somewhere, let me know, and I would love to do it for you. Just let me know any way you can get a hold of me. Folks, that was this biblical verse of the week. God bless. Travel well. How we doing, all y'all? This is a very special biblical verse of the week. This is a request by the great K.O.E. Rich. So thank you very much. And this is his personal favorite biblical verse, Matthew 13:10 through 17. And he prefers the King James Version. So here we go. And the disciples came and said unto him, Why speakest thou unto them in parables? He answered and said unto them, Because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it is not given. For whoso hath, to him shall be given, and he shall have more abundance. But whoever hath not, for him shall be taken away even that he hath. Therefore speak to them in parables, because they seeing see not, and hearing they hear not, neither do they understand. And in them is fulfilled the prophecy of Isaiah, which saith, By hearing ye shall hear, and shall not understand. Seeing ye shall see, and shall not perceive. For this people's heart is waxed gross, and their ears are dull of hearing, and their eyes they have closed, lest at any time they should see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and should understand with their hearts, and should be converted. I should heal them. But blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear. For verily I say unto you, that many prophets and righteous men have desired to see those things which ye see, and have not seen them, and to hear those things which ye hear, and have not heard them. Matthew 13:10 through 17. Iko, this one's for you. There's a biblical verse you'd like me to read that has some special meaning to you, or just your favorite, or just one that you find beautiful and profound in some way, please just drop it in the comments or in any way you know to get a hold of me. God bless every last one of you folks. Travel well. How we doing, all y'all? This is another biblical verse of the week. This is one that was accidentally sent to me by my mother. She was meaning to send something else, but she sent this to me, and I thought, perfect. 1 Chronicles 16:34 through 5. Oh, give thanks unto the Lord, for he is good, for his mercy endureth forever. And say, Yea, Save us, O God of our salvation, and gather us together and deliver us from the heathen, that we may give thanks to thy holy name and glory in thy praise. 1 Chronicles 16:34 through 5. Well, folks, if there's a biblical verse you'd like me to read, or something that just means something to you or you find uniquely profound, please let me just know in the comments or any way you can get a hold of me. God bless every last one of you. That was this biblical verse of the week. God bless. Travel well.
Yes. And so that's what I've got so far. I recorded one more today. I got to do some editing because right in the middle of it just got like huge gust of wind into my face and couldn't like hear myself. So I'll have to do some editing there. But Bandit, a closed church in Nebraska? Yeah, because it's the Swedish Lutherans who are now, I think they're just part of the wider Lutheran church now. Now, and Kathy, send my regards to all the folks that are back with you and yours, to all of them. I pray for all of them that they have the best of times from here on out till the rest of their days. But folks, all you beautiful people, I have planting I have to get to in the morning, and I'm also on irrigation now. That's one of the bittersweet things, you know. Something that my brother was so good at, and now I'm having to take over for that. It's bittersweet every day. Bandit, when you think that the world has gone to hell, remember that God wins in the end. Yep. There's like even one time today I was thinking, damn, I wish I could ask him that. But that is what it is, folks. So, folks, I hope all of you, every last one of you, but also especially God bless Kathy. And Kathy, just tell everybody back there, all the kin folk, that I'm praying for every last one of them. And folks, as I'm known to say around here, all that being said, thank you for joining us here at the K.O.E. Nation, folks, for this fun live stream. We got into some interesting stuff of the world, and then we got into the deep stuff tonight, and I'm glad we did. Folks, I hope all of you make it back here to the K.O.E. Nation happy, healthy, much the wiser, and I hope you find good health, good times. May your intellectual and spiritual enlightenment come to you. I hope that you can find greater prosperity in this life in every way. God bless every last one of you. Folks, thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us. Oh, let's see. Thank you, Phil. Enjoyed. Look forward to another. Yes. Oh, thank you. Thank you. God bless every last one of y'all. And folks, I'm afraid this farmer's got to get ready for planting tomorrow, but I'm going to leave you with this poem of the week. This was a listener written poem by the great Mario Vitale, and it is the aptly named Alleluia Choir. God bless every last one of you. Travel well.
How we doing, all y'all? It's time for another poem of the week. This one is by the great Mario Vitale. This one is called Alleluia Choir. Look towards the death amidst a way to church. Lock knee to earth. There are billows left behind. You're still tough in the shadow, spreading the juice among men, feelings among men. A challenge to be free is a question in time. Who let the dogs out? Amidst its grace of letting go, Mass has ending soon. The love of God shines on. Going to miss the fight. Top hat billiards check. Among the armor rents, above the barren sod, basking in the vast expense between heaven and earth. We look at flesh through each barren sheath. Love in fullest circles, attempt to awaken among each final curtain. Love within, lest you fall. Wake up to the goodness, the fresh in between. The Alleluia Choir by Mario Vitale. Folks, if there's a poem you'd like me to read, or if you'd like me to read your poem, please just let me know in the comments. I love the imagery of good poetry. So, folks, God bless, travel well, and that was this Poem of the Week.